Don't forget to thumb up. The first thing I saw when I come in here. Whoa, you say. All right, we are live. I think I need to wipe my screen. Give me a second, guys. There we go. Give me some help. This looks way better. All right. Whoa. All right, guys. Whoa. Welcome. This is Derek Ofaderumwa with the Medicine Shell. As you guys see, I fixed the Blue Man issue from last time. Slowly by slowly, we're putting a little set together. So I'm liking how this looks right now. Like, I'm very happy with the look so far. Um, I think this is about it, right? I don't know if I need to add more drama, but we'll see. But either way, welcome to the Medicine Shell. This is Derek Ofaderumwa with the Medicine Shell, and this is Ask Me Anything. For those of you who've been watching my videos, those of you who are subscribed, or those of you who are accidentally finding this, there's a place for you to ask me ask me almost any question. Ask me almost any question. I'm here to answer. Ndewonu. High key black and white would be cool. Like black and white, like the whole thing black and white. Like I Love Lucy. What's good? Rasan Ndewo. Scotty Ndewo. I feel like Scotty, I don't know if I'm tripping, but I feel like I haven't seen your name in a minute. Maybe because I missed last week. Scotty. Or Aniaya. Okay, I have to remember this Aniaya. Aniaya, finally caught your live again. Okay, yeah, it has been a while. I have questions. LOL. I trust you to have questions. I try 100% trust you to have question. Meta soul and there whoa all smiles be. I don't know if I can do black and white like I Love Lucy, but I like the vibe. I like the vibe. With a little more style than I. I appreciate you for believing I can do that. Jada and okay, damn, we're already at 14 people. All right. If we can get to 15 people, I'll go ahead and get started. How about that? Once we get to 15 people, I'll go ahead and guess. I didn't even look. For those of you who are new, again, I feel like I have to rush now because I'm about to hit 15 people. But for those of you who are new, my name is Derek Ofaderungwa. I teach Igbo spirituality here on the Medicine Shell. Igbo spirituality, ancestral cosmology. If this is a topic that interests you, hit the subscribe button. If you are in the live, all 13 of you who are in the live and you have not hit that like button, I was about to start getting, you know how they blow. I was about to get powder to blow it on people who don't hit the like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Our rule is if you're in here, you got to hit that like button. Huh? You understand? It's not just to be here and be staring at me. It's to come in here, hit that like button, contribute. Let YouTube know that this is where it's happening, right? But yeah, like I said, do you think Marcus Garvey? Okay, all right, we're getting. Once we get to 15 people, there's so many of you guys came so fast that I didn't get to say my whole routine. But once we get to 15 people, I'll go ahead and start answering the questions. But yeah, person, I like your question. All right, we've hit 15. He say, all right, we're going to go ahead and break Aji. We're going to go ahead and break Aji. Now, traditionally, when you're breaking Aji, what you do is you bring it out. The woman of the house will bring out the Aji, and she will present it to the eldest man in the room. Typically, the eldest man in the room will take the Aji and bless her, just give her blessings and that type of thing, or commend her for the woman she is, that kind of thing. And then that oldest man will go ahead and give the blessings. But if the oldest man in the room can also pass on the thing and pass it to somebody else, and if you are not the eldest man in the room, the custom is to present it forward, and the eldest man in the room will nod his head. So if you are older than me and you are a bloke, right, a gentleman, go ahead, give me that nod. I'm going to pretend you gave me the nod, and this is the proper way to break Aji. Okay, that being said, I now have the honors to proceed with what I'm doing. Oh, Odima. Okikekerowa. Alawala. Ala nne mmadụ na nne mmụọ. Ala nne na-enye ndụ na-enye nke ọma dị n'ụwa. Ala mụrụ mmadụ mụrụ mmụọ. Ala anyị si abịa, ala anyị si elo. Ụmụ gị abịala. Ọjị abịala. Eji m ọjị n'aka na-ekele ụmụ ndị eke, ndị orie, ndị afọ na ndị nkwọ. Na-ekele ndị mbụ na ndị egede, ndị mmadụ na ndị mmụọ. Eji m ọjị na-ekele mmụọ na-enye ndụ na mmụọ na-enye nke ọma dị n'ụwa. Ejikpere m ọjị na-ekele mmụọ na-esoro anyị na mmụọ anyị ga-afụ ebe anyị na-aga. Ọ udo ka anyị ji aga. Nke ọbụla unu chọrọ ka anyị ma na mmụọ, mee ka anyị ma ya na mmadụ. Jizi aka ọma akụzi anyị. Jizi olu ọma ekuzi anyị. Jizi obi udo ekuzi anyị. Mee ka anyị ma otu ọ ga-adị na eke na orie na afọ na nkwọ. Mee ka anyị ma otu anyị ga-eji ama onwe anyị, otu anyị ga-eji abụ otu na mmadụ, eji abụ otu na mmụọ. Ọnwụ ụmụ Chineke na-ekwu, ụmụ Chukwu okike abịama na-ekwu, ụmụ Ichie na-ekwu, ụmụ ndị ọkpụ na-ekwu, ụmụ anyanwụ na-ekwu, ụmụ Amadioha na-ekwu, ụmụ Arobinagụ na-ekwu, ụmụ ala na-ekwu, ụmụ ndị mbụ na-ekwu, ụmụ ndị egede na-ekwu, na anyị na-ekwu eziokwu, anyị ji ogwu ekwu, anyị ji ọfọ ekwu. Otu a ka ọ ga-adị na eke na orie na afọ na nkwọ. Ise. All right. I'm now going to break Oji. Wait for it. Oh yeah. We've broken Oji. Oji has broken in two. Abo, the number 2 represents being. All things come into existence in twos. As Mado and more, all things come with two sides, all things come with two faces. Ndibo say that Mbobala ifo na Mado, na Bauri, na Miri, and we're in here na Tiegu na Ikuku, which means that whenever a person is dancing on top of water, there's something below playing its music. So we understand that we are in Uwabo, the world of twos. All things manifest in twos. 2 is being. 2 is chi na eke. 2 is everything it takes to create and make life move forward and be. And therefore, Oji broke in 2. We honor our boy. We honor everything that comes with our boy, ma opuni che, and so forth. One of the things about Odinani is that things come in dualities. And once you start understanding the relationships the dualities have with each other and the relationships the dualities have with the other dualities, a lot of what I teach just kind of falls in place, starts to make sense. You say. All right, let's go ahead and start answering some questions. The rule is ask me questions. Once the questions run out, I leave. If you keep the questions coming, I stay. So we'll see how far we go with this one. All right, where are we at? You should have a segment where you bring a few people to have discussions. Metasoul, I think that's a good idea. So one of the things I've been trying to do with this channel is I'm trying to find something I can do daily, right? The videos I make, they're more documentaries and they take time, but I want to find something that I can do daily. I want to be able to drop something daily. So I was thinking about taking a small topic and then making a short video on it, or having, for a while I was doing interviews with people, but to tell you the truth, I don't like doing interviews with people. Every now and then you run into somebody who can just like flow, but a lot of times, like, I don't like the situation where somebody's like waiting for me to ask them questions and things like that. It's just not my call. I'm not an interviewer, right? Though the interviews we have on here have been good. I've rewatched a whole bunch of them over and over, but it's just not my shtick. So I'm trying to think of something I can do daily, just to be posting daily. The next video I'm making is coming out soon. It could have came out a lot earlier, but I'm like, I always find ways to make my videos quicker and make them easier. But then, like, while I'm doing it, I start getting so carried away that like I OD and it ends up taking just as long as before anyway, or longer. So I'm just ODing on the process right now and having fun, which is what's making the next video take time. But the next video is going to be on ritual. The next video is going to be on ritual. And so yeah, we'll see where that one goes. But yeah, I'm trying to find something to do daily. Maybe have people come and talk. That'll be dope. I think that'd be a good idea. I would like to go to other platforms and talk. You know what I mean? I think I would like to go to other platforms and talk. But if other people, there's like a whole bunch of people that have these perspectives that I would love to see them share. And so I think that'd be a good idea. So I'll think of a way to facilitate that. But that one's like, what you just recommended is very high on my list of things I think I should do. I'll do them. All right, what do you think about Marcus Garvey's idea of mass reparation back to Africa is realistic? Do you think it would cause too many problems? I think it would definitely absolutely cause a lot of problems. And then I also think that you don't retreat from gains, right? So, as much as the history of Black people in America, the Americas, be it Caribbean, North America, South America, so forth, is difficult. In the end of the day, the people there have staked their claim to a lot in this country. They are the backbone of, or most of the time, a lot of times, the majority or even main populace of the country. They have developed an entire identity, an entire world, an entire so on and so forth. They have given the land value. The land has given them value. So I don't see the point of just everybody retreating from that for no reason, right? Retreating from that and then, like, I guess, I don't know, going to Africa. Um, if somebody wants to go back, I think I always encourage. I think that's one of the coolest things somebody can do. If somebody wants to have a connection between the two continents, again, I always think that, like, I've personally helped people facilitate that. Um, but like a mass move back is just not realistic, obviously. And then, like, this particular land, be it with this difficult history, means a lot to people ancestrally, culturally, and so forth. And it's not something that can just be like, okay, well, we're done with this because white people are being on some bullshit, you know. Yeah, so, and that kind of thing. And then you'll also come to find that a lot of things aren't uh, aren't dependent on location. Like, the locate travel is wonderful, but a lot of things aren't dependent on location. Whatever it is somebody thinks they can do in Africa, they can do here. They can probably do here a lot easier, honestly. So there's that. And then I don't really buy into any ideology that is predicated on the idea of, like, fixing the problem with Black people, right? And I sometimes I feel I'm very alone in that concept, and maybe I need to talk about it more. But I don't buy into any of that. Like, if this happens, it'll fix the problem. There's no problem. There's no problem, right? There's no problem. Just live your life. If you want to do something, go do it. You know what I mean? There's no problem, right? Um, there's no problem. There's nothing to be fixed. So if you go to Africa, it's not going to make a difference. You know what I mean? And so forth. And I feel like a lot of Garvey's ideas, a lot of ideas from that era was predicated on this idea of, like, fixing the issue with Black people. And one of them was Africa is going to unite, and then everybody moves back to Africa, and then we'll have this, and we'll have that, and we'll have that kind of thing. It's like, yeah. We can talk more about that if you guys want, but I don't buy into any ideology based on, like, fixing the issue with Black people. And I think that's where me and my Hotep brethren kind of deviate ideologically, right? And I'm not saying Hotep derogatory. Uh, I'm not saying it derogatory, but I don't think that all that is based on, like, curse of ham psychology and, like, slavery and post-slavery and the things people heard during that era and the people they were taught and told and that kind of thing. And so there's this, like, wave of thought that is predicated on the idea of, like, fixing the Negro, right? And that's one of them, right? And I think it's some bullshit. Where, like, I mean, you just watch the Olympics. We're okay. You know what I mean? Like, you just watch it. We're okay. We're okay. You know what I mean? We're okay. Just keep doing the thing you want to do, right? Do the thing you want to do. I got your back. You know what I mean? You guys obviously have my back. We're cool, man. We're good. So, again, we can elaborate more on that, and so forth. Uh, but yeah, a mass reparation of well over 60 to 100 million people. Yeah, that'd be catastrophic. Do you think? Okay, yeah, okay. And then a lot of that Garvey stuff, it just looks like colonialism. And a lot of it is like, this is what the British. That's what they were trying to do too. Like, let's go solve the problems in Africa. It's like, all right, yeah, it's just colonialism. I think sometimes we tell the story of colonialism so poorly. Um, and usually, like, when colonialism is talked about, especially from, like, my perspective, like, as far as the way I think and people like me, we want to kind of let you know how messed up it was, which is important to know. But because of that, a lot gets missed in the story, so that the same problem gets repeated again and again and again and again, because a lot of the solutions people keep proposing is just more colonialism, right? So that sounds very colonial. Yeah. Do Igbo people have the concept of familiars, animal spirits they're connected to? Yes, yes, we do. Yeah. So, So communities will have it and families will have it. Communities will have it and families will have it. There are cases where individuals have it as well, and then a person can develop the extent of relationship with that. I mean, I think the English term is familiar. I don't know what the Igbo term is. I have a video called Sacred Animals Explained, or Sacred Animals, something about sacred. It's like a two-part, right? That really goes into all of that particular concept. But yeah, absolutely. The Igbo people also have the exact same concept. Certain families will have like a certain animal that's like with them. Some of it can be traced to the family's history, right? So maybe this animal, for some reason, anytime there's a problem in the family, this animal comes and warns them. This animal comes and saves their life, and so forth. But it goes way deeper than that as well. But yeah, absolutely, right? Absolutely. Mhm. Okay, where are we at? Yeah. Can you explain Ogawa age? Yes, absolutely. So, the Igbo see human history as an affair of four world ages. The first world age, which is Ogaka. The second world age is Ogachi. The third world age, which is the one you're referring to, is Ogamu. And the fourth is Ogazi. Ogaka was the age of the light being, I'll call it that, where human beings were able to traverse from Earth to the source, to Earth, relatively easily. Our ancestors say that at that time, human beings were light that emanated from Chukwu or Obi Chukwu, which is the source of life. And we would travel from Obi Chukwu to Earth back and forth without an issue. Our actual home in that era was Obi-Chukwu. So Earth was like a vacation place, a place you come to enjoy. In this era, and the beginning of this era, Earth was all darkness. And then a few of us that traveled over to the Earth kind of had this like the cord to get back to Obi-Chukwu got cut. And so we stay there and it begins Ugachi. Ugachi, Ugachi. I'm sorry. So yeah, it begins with Ugachi. So in a lot of Igbo folklore, you'll notice that a lot of them play with this idea of like human beings having this connection to Obichukwu. Then a piece of it goes away, and so now they got to figure out how to survive and that kind of thing. So during Ugachi, that's when being a mortal became a thing. People started to die. People needed to eat food. People needed to breathe. Well, let me put it this way: in Ogaka, people's original means of eating was breathing food, that kind of thing. People needed to just be mortal, be living things, learn to live from the earth, learn to receive. Ogaka we're primarily receiving from the father. We're receiving from the father, and then we enter the mother, and now we receive from the mother, which is Ogachi. This is when Odinani starts coming together and getting formed. Once the human beings begin to master that connection with the mother, which is during Ogachi, once the mastery happens, once we start really getting the hang of it, we hit a new era known as Oganwu. Oganwu is the age of lights, the age of the sun, the age of the rising sun. This is the third world age, and it's the world age you're asking about. In this world age, it's the connection with Chukwu reopens. The connection with Chukwu reopens, but reopens by way of the sun through the eminence of Chukwu, which is Abia. This is why one of Chukwu's names is Chukwu Okike Abiyama, right? Abia is wisdom. Abia is Uche. Abia is sentience that comes from the Father onto human beings. And so this connection got reestablished, and with it, I'll call them abilities. The ability to build um, human culture and everything that we understand today happens in this age. There's a flourishing of the human ability, of the human spirit, of the human capacity to exist between Mado and Mo, right? And because there is this connection, because there is this extraordinary sense, there are a legendary group of people known as the Children of the Rising Sun. And the Children of the Rising Sun wasn't like a singular group of people who like lived in one place and so forth, but among human populations, at this point, humanity spread out and started to populate. You get these people that were children of the rising sun. They were just very aware and very awakened and so forth. And then this was Ugawa. Now, when these world ages begin and when they end is debatable. I would say everything we know as history, right? Which so it's like 6,000 years or so. I think all of that has been Ugazi, and I think the era before that would probably be Ugamu and so forth. If you're into like extra deep history, the anytime you start hearing about things that happened 30,000, 40,000, so forth years ago, in my perspective, this would be Ugamu. But yeah, it's just the age of solar wisdom, the age of solar awareness, the ability to connect back to the Father by way of the Son. And Ugazi, as Ugamu begins to end, we enter the fourth world age, which is Ugazi, where the human beings build up this capacity. And then for one reason or another, they begin to try to use it to become like self-serving, self-interested, uh, individualistic, destructive, and confused, right? And so, as human beings become destructive, confused, so on and so forth, many of the children of the rising sun see where we're going in the future. And during Ogango, a lot of them choose to die with their wisdom, because if their wisdom was shared with us, we would use it to tear each other apart. So, piece by piece, we're figuring out little things that they already knew. And then we do what we do with it, right? We destroy each other, we destroy the earth. Um, we use it to self-aggrandize and self-serve and so forth. We try to hold each other down with the things that we know, that kind of thing. So yeah, that is Ugamu. Ugamu is the age of enlightenment. Let's call it that, the ancient. I'm not talking about like the European age of enlightenment. That's also some Ugazi. Ah, shit. Adema. Can you explain Amu, Professor? Thank you, thank you. Um, After God is Debia book is $2,000 on Amazon. That's a hell of a book. Is there anything in Odinani similar to yoga in Hinduism? So what yoga is, right? And maybe somebody who's more familiar with Hinduism or Hindu or someone can like elaborate or correct me if I'm wrong. But what yoga is the let's do this. Your connection to moi, your connection to your ability to be one with your ezumezu. So this is your connection to your chi. This is your the strength of your moi and so forth. Your connection to your agun, all of the entire pantheon of things that make you who you are. Your ability to connect to it and be healthy with it is very dependent on your physical health. It is difficult to connect to or be connected to your chi with bad physical health. So what yoga is using is physical movement in order to achieve or heighten your ability to make that connection, heighten your ability to reach that awareness. It's also what Kung Fu is, right? Kung Fu comes from India uh, by way of a monk, and then it reaches China, and then like after some time, people kind of know it as a fighting form, but it's really a yoga. It's really yoga, right? So that's what yoga is. And so does Odinani have that? Absolutely. So in Odinani, there's a whole range of arts that fall in that category, and they are known as Igochi, which is hard to translate, but like retrieving the chi, right? Connecting to your chi. So all of the arts that go into connecting to your chi. Um, but as far as like Odinani goes and Igbo people go and that kind of thing, a lot of how that is expressed from what I've seen is singing. A lot of what that is dancing, singing. A lot of it is, of course, like physical things, like or like not like run, like jogging in groups and that kind of thing. Meditation is also a form of Igachi, right? And so forth. So all of that is Igachi. Now, if there's something very specific that's like a set of stretches and so forth, like a specific set, I don't know. but I know what yoga is. Yoga is yigachi, and so if that's somebody's method of achieving it and it works, then great. But yeah, it's the idea that all of these things that comprise you are connected. So if you have an unhealthy body, you have an unhealthy spirit. If you're like, for example, a big part of like somebody who's advanced in yoga, you'll notice their ability to connect to the different parts of their physical body is heightened, right? So I can make my arm, the dexterity I have of my arm is different, my flexibility is different. All of those things are signs of good spiritual health as well. Because, if you can barely, I don't know, if you can barely sit down without losing your breath, your ability to connect spiritually is very compromised. So, there's that. There's a reason. There's a reason. There's a vested interest in keeping people unhealthy. There's a vested interest in keeping people unhealthy, right? In this country, but if it happens in America, it happens everywhere, right? America has everybody's brain, so worldwide, right? A bit more. Uh, what is your reincarnator? Are you asking me specifically? Me specifically, my reincarnator, the person is like a grand uncle of mine who was very good friends with my grandfather, who came back as my son. So we're father and son, but also past life friends. And um, to my knowledge, I don't know too much about him because he wasn't a close family member. But what I do know is that he was a palm wine tapper, so he used to make palm wine. And if he was my grandpa's friend, he was probably a pretty bright guy because my grandpa keeps limited company or used to keep limited company. But if you want to elaborate on that question, if I didn't answer it correctly, if you can elaborate on that, that'd be great. Wu Tang is banging like a Ron G tape. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Wu Tang all day. What country or state are you in? Well, wouldn't you like to know? And that's why it is called Ask Me Almost Anything. Wouldn't you like to know? What is your opinion on the different Debias throughout the ages? Also, do Debias come from Ogaka? The art of being a Debia comes from Ogamu. Ogamu. The art of being a Debia comes from Ogamu, right? Ogamu, and because on top of, you'll notice with Ogamu that people become more specialized. Like individuals become more specialized. Like this is this type of person, that is that type of person, and so forth. You don't see a lot of that in Ogaka and Ogachi, but in Ogamu you see that. So the type of people, the people we call Debias. But I've also have a theory on that too. I actually think that, and this is just my own theory, I think that Debiahood comes actually from Ogazi, but the general idea is it comes from Ogamu. If you connect Debias to the children of the rising sun, right? A Debia is a Diabia, a master of Abia, so a person who's able to receive that outside wisdom and so forth. But I think that there's a thing that people that are really like at home and that really understand Odinani very well, they understand that deep like Debiahood, it kind of came. It's not. I don't want to. If I say this now, it's just gonna spiral out of control. Um, as people start losing their ability to do these things, the people who retain them are Debias. But at a point, this idea of being a Debia was more widespread. It was just more common. People can do these things more naturally, right? Ademma. Hotep isn't an insult. Hotep first. No, no, yeah. I don't consider Hotep an insult at all. But I had to clarify because people do use it derogatory. Yeah, I had to clarify. Do fairies exist in Odinani? Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. Is Udemili Udemeli real? Is Udemeli real? Augustine, can you elaborate on your question? Are you talking about the river? Yeah, it's real. It's a real river. It's a real river. Yeah, yeah, it's a real river. So if you're talking about the river, then yes. But if you mean something else, let me know. Right? If you mean something else, let me know. Thank you, LOL. I always thought that Garvey's ideology gave me white man's burden. White man's burden. Like I said, thank you. Yeah, yeah, you got it. Yeah, yeah. White man's burden vibes. I feel Liberia's history is a perfect example of how this thinking falls flat. Right. Yeah. If you go into a place with the idea that you have the solution and other people don't, you're gonna tear the place to pieces, right? If you go into the place with the idea that you're here to save, like this savior mentality, it has caused more damage in the world than good. And where do I want to go with this? The savior, the hero, is a slave. You understand? The savior, the hero, is a slave. And if you want to send a spell, right, that enslaves people towards whatever you're doing, one of the ways to create a potent class of slaves is to hit them with the hero archetype. With the hero archetype. Once a person embraces the spirit of the hero, which is in a lot of people, it's natural. It is very easy to, now you got them, right? So you'll notice they're gonna shut down my live for this. There's a vested interest in pumping out heroic male figures that appeal to young men between the ages of 9 and 22 in the United States. Because this country is very sophisticated at its juju, right? So there's a vested interest in giving young men the heroic idea, the heroic archetype. And once they lock into the hero, not only do you have a slave, but you have a slave that is ready to die. Okay? You have a slave that is ready to die. Okay? So if you look at a lot of the advertising for they're dead. Hey, this might be the last live you see. We're about to see a big ass laser just pew! But if you look at all the advertisement for like the military, right? We're tapping into that hero that we've been using Marvel and all this shit to get it in you, right? And then, once you hit that recruitment age, you just click the button, your little coon chip activates. You go to sign up, Hey, I want to save, I want to be a hero, right? That kind of thing. The British, no, the Crusades. I'll use the Crusades as one of a good example of this particular thing being used well, right? Let's go save Christianity. Let's go save where? Just that direction. Don't ask me. We just go this way. Go save, right? And it's easy to curate heroes with the Abrahamic doctrine, right? But the Crusades and then the British Empire, there was a whole lot of white man's burden, go be heroic. This is I have this book. Is it not in this room? No, it's not in this room. So I have this book. It's one of the most impactful books I've ever read, right? It's called Revolutionary Empire. It's about I think it's the history of the maybe British or like kind of America, British kind of thing, but it's like not the modern age. And it's talking about one of the things it was talking about was when the age of exploration, when they started going exploring and stuff. And the author spoke about this particular thing that the European sailors used to do. They would go into these places and then they'd come back, and everybody on that ship, you've now been to this exotic place nobody's ever heard of. So when you get off the ship, you have this huge audience that's ready to hear these stories, right? So a lot of people started monetizing their storytelling, right? And they would just gas it up. They would add all these things like, yeah, it was me and I was fighting 3 million Zulus and we was and then we went and fought 3 billion Aztecs and we won. And this thing kept snowballing and snowballing to the point where people started printing out pamphlets and so on and so forth. And the author tied this concept back to the modern action movie. And he did it so brilliantly. I was like, yo, this idea of the one guy, he's got a little pistol And then there's like 3,000 terrorists, and he's just using his pistol, and he beats them all in the fight. It all came from that era, right? And so as people were reading these stories, young boys and things like that, now they want to go. Oh, I want to go do that. I want to go because it's part of a man's life is seeking the heroic, like doing like seeking that particular thing. It's a part of what fulfills a man, right? And so yeah, I want to do that. I want to do that. Or let me say the masculine energy. Let me not say the man, the masculine energy. I want to do that. And then all of a sudden you get all these recruits to come on these boats because it's so exciting, so exciting. And then so when you begin the colonial project, like the official colonial, you don't let that go, right? You're like, okay, well, this works. So keep giving them these stories of going into and meeting all these wild pygmies and shooting them down and that kind of thing. The West, right? A lot of the stories from the West, somebody will go out to California, you probably just sat there and you know what I mean, just sat there and just got rained on, came back. Yeah, it was just me and the Apaches. And then the people are hearing this story now. They want to go shoot some Apaches too because they think that's what it is, and then it becomes real, right? So yeah. The hero's a slave. I don't know how we got into that. Oh yeah, the Marcus Garvey thing. So like a lot of that, and then if you notice in an action movie, all of the heroes' negative actions are justifiable by the fact that it's for the heroic cause, which is greater than life, which is worth dying for. So if it's worth dying for, then I can definitely steal your car. I can definitely blow up these 4 or 5 buildings. I can definitely drive my vehicle through a crowded mall to chase you. I can definitely crash through your window. All these different things. I can definitely, look at Batman. He'll tie somebody, be beating them up. That's a crime, right? But he's beating you up to solve a crime, and it's worth it because he's the heroic thing. So like Dick Gregory said, man, it's a game. So basically, we're stuck on Earth. No, we're not stuck on Earth. You're as stuck on Earth as, like, let's say the birth process, right? It's like saying, "Oh, I'm stuck in my mother," right? It's like, no, it's just a part of your creation story. It's part of what it took to make you. You understand? It's part of what it took to make you. Don't get into any Earth is bad, sky is good shit. That's that nomad. That's from the caves, That's, that's from the caves, man. Leave no, there's no. We don't do that. Oh, sky good, Earth bad shit. So no, you're not stuck on Earth. That's like saying that's like your father inseminates your mother, and now I'm stuck in my mother. Well, people say that, in like the West and shit. Oh, I didn't ask to be born. People say that shit in the West all the time, but yeah, we don't say that on this side. We don't do that on this side. You are blessed to be stuck on Earth, and you're not really stuck if you know what you're talking about, right? You're not stuck. You're still connected. Some say Itraja doesn't mean animal offering. Are you familiar with this? Yeah. So a lot of people are leaving church and they're returning to Odinani, and so the things about Odinani that don't agree with church, they're trying to like whitewash or act like it didn't exist before or push to the side or like rebrand and all these things, right? Because again, the church, it's a slave doctrine, right? And so the people in the pews aren't the leaders. They're not supposed to be in charge of their own affairs. I think the term is the pews, the seats, the bleachers, right? Yeah, the bleachers, like my boy Joel Osteen. The people in the Joel Osteen bleachers are not the main character. They're not in charge of their own affairs. They are listeners. They are peasants. They are the subjects of a feudal lord ideologically and physically. And so when they go into a way of seeing the world that was put together by people who are actually independent and in charge of their own affairs, some of that shit is they're not going to agree with it, right? And because they're not going to agree with it from their perspective, they got to get rid of the things that they don't agree with. But the things they don't agree with are the things that people who run their own affairs have to be aware of. It's just like now, I'm a parent, right? My son doesn't understand why I'm working when I can just stop working and come play. You understand? Like, dude, just stop working, come play, and just come. Let's ride bikes. Let's do this. He doesn't understand because I'm the one in charge of the affairs. You understand? So when Christians come into Odinani, they see the adult things in Odinani. They say, "Oh, we don't do that. No, that's bad. That's not real. We don't do Itraja." Even like earlier when I was saying with the Debia thing, right? So one of the things they're trying to say is that Okay, we're the Hebrews and all the Debia stuff came when we encountered a bunch of Africans here and they brought all this stuff in their side. I was like, okay, I gotta be careful what I'm saying because that's not what I mean. You understand? What I meant earlier, and I hope I said it clearly, was that the Debia, the everybody's a Debia. Every single person is a Debia. But because of the age we're in, only some people can fully tap into that. Only some people can fully tap into that, right? When they say somebody has agun, right? Somebody has agun. That's how you say somebody's a dibia. Well, we know that everybody has agun, right? But some people have agun. You understand? So, yeah. So as I was saying, yeah. So they're trying to I hope what I'm saying makes sense because it's important. They're trying the things that adults do as far as Odinani go. They want to get rid of that stuff because it doesn't make sense to like a child's mind. So we try chant bad, dibia bad. What else? What else? What else? Um, it's anything that requires like pain, anything that requires like waiting. Like what I've noticed that nobody want the waiting shit. That's not good. Things that don't favor you. People want to get rid of things that don't favor them, right? Um, so yeah, but all that's just some bullshit. We know what it is, right? We know what it is, and we know what it's not. Greetings. How similar are Odinani and Ifa? That's a good question. Odinani and Ifa are, how do I put it this way? We're both playing basketball on two different courts. So if you look at the play by play that's happening in this game over here and the play by play that's happening in this game over here, and you only judge it by the play by play, you'll think it's two different things. When you understand the mechanics of basketball, what we're trying to do, what the understanding is, what the rules are, you'll understand, okay, it's the same thing, but it's going to manifest different every single time it's done. You understand? So it's the same thing. Um, because they're playing on a different court, geography is different and the history is different. They will People in Ifa will emphasize certain things that we don't emphasize in Odinani. And because of we're on this court and we're playing this specific game, we're going to emphasize certain things that they don't do over there. But check this out. The Ifa in Nigeria and the Ifa in the Western Hemisphere are also different, right? And it's not because one person's doing it right and one person's doing it wrong. It's because again, we're both playing basketball, but this court, the game we're playing against Shaquille O'Neal, we need to really watch out for the defense. So we gotta boom, 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 do this that they don't have to do over here. Maybe they have to do more of a shooting game over here. We have to do more of like a dunking game over here, right? I hope my analogy is making sense, right? So it's the same algorithm, it's the same way of approaching things, creating different results based on the different histories and geography that it's in. But we're talking about the same thing. Just cultural nuance changes it. What but then here's another thing too. So sometimes I don't like to say, yeah, this is like that in cross culturally, because I don't want to shut off that part of your brain where you can understand something for what it is, right? So let's say you understand Ifat, that doesn't mean you understand Odinani, even though I just said what I said. Okay. So maybe put that part to the side and then look at this for specifically what it is. Then once you kind of get this, you can then step back and cross compare and that kind of thing. You'll be more rewarded from that process than to be like, oh, okay, I already know it because I know this, A5 and that kind of thing. Because then again, like I said, we're emphasizing different things in different places for different reasons. So there's a lot of reward and wisdom that comes from understanding that why and so on and so forth. All right, so where are we at? Can you explain what bulichi means? Bulichi, like carrying your chi. Burichi. Like mburichi, like a person with ichi, a person with ichi marks. It's a if you're asking if I think you're saying what you're saying, like mburichi, like a person who has ichi marks. So that was such a cool question. So the okay. Here's the thing with Igbo, and then like by the way, I'll talk about this in a minute, but when it comes to speak the Igbo language, you'll notice if you ask somebody what something means, they'll pause and then they'll give you the thing. Because English creates a new word for every single thing. And then in Igbo, one word does a lot of different things. So sometimes when I translate it, it's almost like I'm not doing it justice. So if I were to ask you, if you ask me, I can, the layman casual understanding is like a titled person, a great person. The very specific thing that it's saying is a person that has ichi marks, which are these solar scarifications that you have on your head, right? Now, what do these things mean? What do these things mean? The general idea is that the entire universe is made up of forces known as the Abara. And these forces manifest in big and little forms, right? So Igwe, the sky, is an Abara, but it also manifests as a father, as a human father, right? Like me, I'm a dad, right? So it manifests as a human father, right? And it also manifests as parts of your body. It also manifests as parts of your body. So the Igwe part of your body is the face. And then on top of the fact that the Igwe part of your body is the face, this particular part here is the sun, right? Now, if you have an understanding of what the sun is, when I was talking about Umuanwu, the children of the rising sun, this is the source of Uche. This is where Uche comes from and so forth. So the general thing is when the sun rises, when a person's sun rises, right? When a person's sun emerges, when a person achieves enlightenment, when a person achieves that connection with Uche, with that wisdom that was established in Uganwu, that with that Scott, that solar wisdom, they are given these marks on their head to signify it. One part signify it, another part activate it. And the general idea is that when once a person has these marks, they have now revealed their true face, the face of their chi, right? Which is that this is light. There's going to be a light type of thing. And then if you understand the sun, within the sun is, or the sun is the sun is the route to Chukwu, right? So the forehead is the route to the chi, if it makes sense. You'll notice in a lot of like ancestral masks, there'll be like a symbol somewhere here, right? And that's kind of like a glimpse into the chi of that thing, right? If you ever see a palm tree on there, it means and they're enlightened. If you ever see an X, that means that they're Osu, which means that they are a physical manifestation of a certain abara, like a certain that kind of thing, right? But X palm trees, which you see common, sometimes you'll see dots, just different things. But an Umbarichi is a person with those marks on their head. It's also used to say a titled or a great person or a wise person. It's also used to say an elder. So that's why I had to pause. But I know that that term, for some reason, it survived in Jamaica, but I don't know what it means in Jamaican patois. For some reason, that specific Umbarichi survived. I remember reading that somewhere that it's used somehow, but I don't remember how. Maybe it's used for like elder or great person, or I don't know. I don't know. Hey, we just got a donation. He said, I'm still trying to think of something theatric to do with the donations. I need to do something. I'm gonna get like I'm thinking about getting like an Ololo dun 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 that kind of thing. I'll do my hey, thank you for the donation. Um, Udo, we're currently in Onwa Ilo Mo. Yes. Are there any insights to receive related to the moon cycle? Yes, absolutely. Let me know if I updated the calendar, if it's on there. If it's not on the calendar, I'll put it in there immediately. Onwa Ilo Mo is the woman's moon. It is the woman's moon. Every moon is everybody's moon, but this particular one is the woman's moon, right? And in this specific moon, the general idea is that a woman is going to spend time connecting with her ezumezu, which is, if you want to picture yourself as a solar system, your ezumezu is the whole solar system. So the sun, the planets, the asteroids, everything that goes into that is your ezumezu. So a woman is taking that time to cultivate that whole full existence, her full spiritual and physical existence and awareness and so forth. In this moon, traditionally, the women in the community will have like a big meeting. You have meetings periodically, but this is like the main one, which after colonialism, it then re-manifests as what they call the August meeting at home. So most people that grew up in like at home in the village and things like that, or just in the East, will know what I'm talking about with August meeting. But that's why, by the way, that's why August meeting is because of this moon, right? But they took it from this moon and just said August. So sometimes parts of August are not in this moon, but it's whatever. It's anyways, yeah. So this is the woman's moon. During this moon, oh no. Am I using no? I'm saying this is Elo More. I'm doing Alon Chi. I apologize. I think we just passed Alon Chi. Elo More is just like reincarnation. My bad. I think I just explained Alon Chi, right? Which I think we're in Alon Chi, or we just exited Alon Chi. But either way, Elo More is like the it's like a reincarnation. Not much is done for a lot of people. Their crops start growing this moon, and so because their crops start growing this moon, they have their New Yam festival in this moon. So this is the New Yam festival moon. My apologies. I think I'm getting this incorrectly. This is the New Yam festival moon. The big idea is that if you watch the cycles of the moons, especially the ones that happen towards the end of the summer to like now, there's the cleansing of the land, which is trying to remember off the top of my head. There's the cleansing of the land, which is what is it? Why can't I think? Omago, right? You cleanse the land, you cleanse the self, you cleanse the spirit. The next moon you plant, right? You cannot be dirty and plant because whatever you have on you, morally, physically, and so forth, you are also planting for it to grow. So you're cleaning your act up physically and spiritually. You do the planting. There's about 1 or 2 moons in between, and then the woman's moon, where the think about it this way: the woman is pregnant with whatever you've planted into the earth, right? And so she's preparing herself to deliver whatever it is. And then this moon, Elo More, the thing is delivered, which is the New Yam. So a lot of people now have a New Yam festival, so on and so on and so forth. It's like a simulacrum of life. It's a simulacrum of life. But the previous one was the woman's moon, and then this one is the return moon. For some communities, the next moon is when they do their New Yam. Others they do. It's usually between these 2 moons. It's usually between these 2 moons, just based on when they started their planting. Thank you. There's a video by an Indian guy that talks about the similarities between Odinani and Hinduism. James, if you can send me that video, or maybe post a link, or actually don't post a link because I won't click it. If you can send it to me, that would be cool. I'd be glad to even talk to the guy. Or how about this? Maybe if you are his subscriber or you know him, be like, hey, the guy from the medicine show wants to do a collaboration with you. Most people with like channels don't check their socials, they don't check their emails. So I'm getting tired of reaching out to people. Hey, good, she. And then they'll reply back like a year later and that kind of thing. So I did my, which I understand why, but yeah. Hey, good, she, Qigong might be the same. Okay, I know what you're saying. Yeah, Qigong, the art, yeah. I had a dream. The moon told me that singing helps connect with spirit. You just confirm. Oh, dope. Okay, good. Do you know reincarnator? Yes, I know my Somebody asked me, how do you know you're reincarnator? Okay, there's different ways that people know. One of the ways you know, as far as Ndibo see it, you reincarnate within your family. And so because you reincarnate with your family, you'll look at who passed away around the time that you died, or that you died. Yeah, who passed away around the time that you were born, is one way of looking. When I know how to do it for like babies, I'm not sure about adults. I think you can figure out from a reading. In fact, no, what? As a fact, I know you can figure out from doing Afa, right? But what Afa will tend to tell you, they'll say is it is somebody on your maternal side, and then maybe it'll give a detail about the person. It is somebody on your paternal side, and then it'll give like a detail about the person. It won't say it's James Andrew Wosu, like it won't do that. But it'll give you that kind of thing. So Afa will tell you, doing a divination, Afa divination can tell you from a Debia. For babies, they do alpha for the baby like 9 out of 10 times. There's also one where they take the baby, they do some things, and then they start calling different names and seeing how the baby responds. But one of the ways to do it without a reading and just to take a guess, a lot of Odinani people will disagree with me because there's a debate as to whether your mother knows or doesn't know. I think your mother knows. So ask your mother if she had any dreams when she was pregnant of you, any relatives returning, any relatives talking to her, that kind of thing. Um, or yeah, get a reading or check who passed away around that time. Okay, I didn't mind. What does bullchi mean? I think I already answered that, unless I didn't answer it correctly. Okay, I missed one. Can you move your altar, mess up? Can moving your altar mess up connection? I moved my altar. Now it feels weird. Yeah, yeah. I had to move mine to. Let me let you guys know. Let me let you guys know. One of the reasons it's taken so long to make a video is because I moved my altar from the place I was living to here, and I just felt weird. Like I don't know, I felt different, I felt different. But I got my mojo back very, very literally by just continuing to revisit. It's almost like when the lawnmower turns off, you got to rev it, and turn it back on again. It's just the same thing. So once you start infusing spirit into the new place, then you'll be okay. But yeah, when you move it, there is something missing, and I'm very confident. I'm like 90% confident that there's a ritual that a person can do before moving it and after to assure that that doesn't happen. But for those who don't know the ritual, including myself, I don't know it. I just kind of had a, lack of better terms, just raw dog it, and just move it, and then go through the what the fuck just happened. Like it felt weird. But now well, as of the past 2 moons, I've been feeling like myself again and getting back to normal and that kind of thing. But yeah. That was okay. When I figured, one of the things that told me that this was real was, anyways, let me not say that. That's too much. I'll do my. But yeah. No, when you move it, you're gonna feel weird. Yeah. What does Odinani say about fireflies and death moths? I don't know. I don't know. Coon shit, yeah. Only takes a little bit. It only takes a little bit to activate the coon chip. It don't take much. Could be activated at very little. I don't know what you're talking about, but I know I opened YouTube at the right time. Hey, Ro, cool. Welcome. Welcome. Yeah, stick around. I say some pretty out there shit. You should have a good time. Danielle, Ndewo. Hey, I always like seeing familiar names. Ndewo. All right, crazy how that's crazy to draw the parallel between that and actually. Oh my, yeah, the book was it's Revolutionary Empire by August Clowder. I can never remember author names. August Clowder. It's a big one. So this is not something you're like your chi says, hey, this is your thing, or leave it alone. I don't, it's a big one. But like, and I haven't finished it, but like I go to the index, I'll look for a word, and I'm like, oh, what does this guy say about this shit? I mean, like, dude, what? Like they were trying to set up a lord system, like a feudal system in the US. And there's like remnants of it. There's remnants of it. They're trying to have like lords in certain places. It didn't work. It didn't work just because of the structure of the country. There was too much space. The peasants had too much leeway, that kind of thing. They're getting too much money. Just a bunch of stuff, really interesting stuff. But yeah, he made the connection very, very fluidly. Like, and it was just like, oh my god, it is this. It is the exact same thing, and it serves the exact same role in the society, which is to get you pumped up so you go on the ship, right? Get you pumped up to go on the ship, right? That kind of thing. That's where you get this idea of sailors being tough. So you get this idea of sailors being tough and that kind of thing. What would make a sailor tough? Just a guy on a boat starving, you know what I mean? But that's what them fools were saying when they came back. Oh man, I was out there and I just head-butted the chief of the fucking I head-butted the Manchu emperor and then and then, oh my god, yeah. Sci-fi does the same thing with space and aliens. Yeah, yeah. It's on my head. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Man, you need to chill out with these fireflies and moths. I don't. You asked me this question like 14 times, bro. Chill out. Nah, yeah, I don't know anything about fireflies and moths as far as Odinani goes. Um, I don't remember seeing fireflies when I was at home, but that doesn't mean they don't exist. I was a little kid. I don't know. Do you think Abrahamic religions and Buddhism have this life on Earth is bad perspective despite coming from vastly different cultures? Oh yeah. I don't know. There's a group of people that go outside and the shit feels normal. It's a group of people that go outside and it hurts, right? If you go outside it's my theory. If you go outside every single day and the shit hurts, after a while you start thinking, is this actually where I'm from? Like, is this normal? What do you mean my skin's peeling off if I go outside, And I don't put on the damn portable cave. You know what I mean? Let me put on the portable cave so I can be safe. Okay, now I'm not burning anymore. Okay, good. Then I can survive. Wait, he's not wearing portable cave. He must be the enemy. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. But yeah. That's what it is. But we know that we are children of this. So that's where that comes from. Yeah, that's where that comes from. And then the ideas, the escape ideas, you look at them, they're like, I don't know, either way. But it's a very Eurasian thing that you don't really see in a lot of like African worldviews. Of course, just because everybody likes to, that chip, people are trying to like bend theirs to look like, you know, some other shit, But yeah, it's just how comfortable do you feel outside? I think that's where it comes from. I think a lot of it comes from like nomads, like nomadic cultures. So like a lot of Eurasian cultures are nomadic by like historically nomadic, and then they settled down. So the relationship with land is not the same as what it is in Africa. Where I'm from in Igbo land, there's evidence of human life that goes back 90,000 years. Doing the things I'm talking about. It's not even like this is a different group. It's doing what I'm talking about. Doing exactly the things I'm talking about. So, and then you got a group of people that are just walking around, that kind of thing. And so when you don't have that, when you have a different relationship with land, you tend to focus on the sky more, right? The zodiac, this star is in this direction, which means that, and that star is doing this, and which means that. If you go to Odinani, a lot of it is if this tree grows this way, then it means that. That tree means this. This is your relationship with your river. This is the relationship with the soil. This is the other one is I'm trying to move these cows from point A to point B. So the thinking's different. If you look at the story of like Jacob and Esau from the Bible, anytime I do the Christian thing, I always start butchering shit. So you guys correct me if I'm wrong. If you look at the story of Jacob and Esau, one of them brought the vegetables, the other one brought the animals, and the guy that brought the animals was the better person, right? Like, oh, he brought me some real shit, which tells me we're talking about nomadic people. These are people that herd animals. These are herd animal people. These people walk around animals looking for watering holes and shit. You got like the Eurasian steppe, this vast tract of land, not super fertile, lots of like large mammals like horses and cows and shit. So you build a lifestyle around that. Of course, it's temperate, so like rivers freeze up, right? This river froze up, this one dried up, this one only exists for this time of the year. So we got to move the cows from point A to point B, and then it starts, the way you think is a little different. You got the Ice Age, people are in the cave, mixing up with the Neanderthal. I mean, we can go into this, but I think a lot of it has to just do with your general relationship with the earth, right? And our relationship with the earth is good. I can put something into it, and it gives, if I put a seed in there and it gives me a year's worth of food, right? I can feel thirsty, and then I walk over here and this river has an infinite flow of water. And if that water is not enough, there's more coming from the sky, right? So this whole thing is giving me more than I can ever consume, more than I can ever take in, more than I can ever enjoy. It's not really the thing to escape. Like, this isn't the enemy, right? The earth is not my enemy. I don't have as far as Odinani, like, even is like, if you want to understand the core, what's really at the core of Odinani, it's you are in community with what you call nature, right? You are in community with what you call nature. So whether you like it or not, you are in community with the physical land you're standing on. You're in community with the river. You're in community with the sky. Because if you want to talk about this is where I'm from, this is where I live, all those things are there too. All those forces, all of those people, they're all there too. So I give it the same respect. I give the river the respect I give you, or give an elder. I give the python the respect I give you, or the river, or the sky, all these different things. I'm in community with these things. If I'm in community with these things, it's best I understand them. It's best I understand the give and receive level of our relationship. It's best I understand what they want, and they understand what I want, right? So whenever I'm breaking Algae, this thing I'm doing here when I was breaking the Algae, if I had a get, which is now, if I have a room full of guests, this is how I will begin the meeting. If I have a visitor come to my house, this is the way I'll hey, this is, this is how we say hello. This is literally how we say hello. If you come to my house to visit, this is how we do it. If we have a meeting, this is the same way, that kind of thing. So when you go to your ancestors, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You understand what I'm saying? You're in community with your ancestors. When people start talking about the deities, ancestral worship, okay, fine, you can use whatever words you want, but sometimes the word you use kind of warps the understanding. What I'm doing is I'm greeting my ancestors, right? I'm also greeting all of the things it took to make this moment possible, all of the things I'm in community with. So I greet the sky, I greet the earth, I greet my ancestors, I greet all of our collective ancestors. I use Mbunegede, the first people that gave birth to all of us, right? I greet the creator, right? I'm greeting them, good morning, I greet you, I offer you all. Gee, this is what I would do if just like the neighbors next door came to my house. You understand? That's Odinani. So we're in community with these things. We're in community with these things, right? And if, again, the sky is giving me sunlight, I'm in good ass weather. The sky's, I'm talking about thousands of years of being good ass weather. The sky's giving me sunlight, gives me water. Every now and then it puts on a little light show for me, right? If you want to go deep, it also strikes down some pretty nefarious characters, right? And I can, when you go deep, it's beyond, like, as I'm saying it, and maybe the word is secular. I don't want it to sound too secular when I say it, because that's the front, that's the basic understanding. It can go deeper than that. So like once you acknowledge that the earth is a living thing, now we can go further than that, right? But the first beginning and all that you really need to do is just know that these things, whether they're living or not living, it's the same respect you have for people, right? And Odinani is growing. Like, one of the gifts of Odinani is it grows your ability to extend respect and love and community. It grows your ability. So now I'm going here greeting my ancestors. What do you mean you're not going to call your mom? You know, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Oh, I'm not talking to my dad right now. Oh, I'm not talking to my sister right now. Did those things stop making sense, right? Where it's like, yeah, people can piss you off, or people can be negative or whatever, and then you take your time apart from them. It's fine. All that's fine. Same thing with the Abara. Same thing with the elements of nature. It's a community. So that's the worldview. It's not. I'm not running from this. Where am I running? Like, I want to. I'm tired of seeing my kids. I'm tired of seeing mom get the fuck out of here. I want to go to heaven and have a wings like a bird and float around, so I don't have to walk the cows. I gotta just can fly, you know. You know what I mean? So it's deep. It's very deep. But I got my own little theory. It's out there, but it's deep. I'll do my. But yeah, and then you go outside. The shit hurts, and then it freezes, and that shit hurts, and you got to be in the damn cave. You know what I mean? After a while, you'll be like, you know what? I gotta get the fuck. This can't be it. I gotta get out of here. This can't be it. I gotta get out of here. It's the same way, like, you're living in Saskatchewan, Canada. Like, man, I want to go to Miami. I can't wait to go to Miami. When you trying to get the fuck out. But you think somebody in Miami trying to go to? Oh, I gotta go to Saskatchewan, Canada. I can't wait to go to Saskatchewan. No, I'm in the nice place. The shit's feeding me. It's making me feel good. But I mean, that's a whole different topic. Like, in Christianity, everyone is a sinner that needs to seek heaven. And Buddhism, life. Yeah, it's the same thing. It's the same kind of just nomadic way of thinking. That's that cave thinking. Odinani and Ifa are cousins. Yeah, that makes sense. The Oba of Ifa says Igbo is their mother culture. Hey, you're gonna stress out Yoruba people. You're gonna stress. Everybody in Nigeria has a lot of pride, and they don't want to hear some shit like that. Yeah, geography. It has to. Your geography has to affect your spirituality. It has to, right? It has to. And hey, everybody's having fun with their Oshun, but if the river that's feeding you is the Mississippi, and you start talking about the Mississippi, Oshun is a real river in Oshun State. You know, they're always having their fun with their, all these different ones. But you need to also there's actually one here. It's and when we say these things, when like in my place now, it's in Java. Njaba isn't some like sky daddy floating around. It's the river Njaba. It's right there. I can walk over there and swim in it and that kind of thing. And it sustained me and my ancestors for maybe hundreds, I don't know, maybe thousands of years. For sure, hundreds, maybe thousands of years. I don't know how long my people have been in that physical land, right? But either way, like you deserve a thank you. You deserve a good morning. You deserve a how are you after a while, right? There's an Igbo people say, greet the blind and the deaf man. If he does not hear you, the sky and the earth do, right? So if you understand that, you'll understand what I'm saying. How do you spell the scar? This ichi, like it is I ichi marks, ichi scars. Um, but I think the person who has ichi as an mburichi, mburu ichi, like person who wears ichi, who carries ichi, ibu is to carry something, right? Adema. Hey, Akunanwu, ndewo. Thank you so much for your donation. Igadi, igeto, nke ọbụla itiri aka, ọ ga-adị n'ụwa, ga-adị otu a na-eke, n'orie, n'afọ, na nkwọ. You say, thank you. I appreciate that. Um, Palm trees represent enlightenment. Yes, yes. Palm trees, palm frond. The palm frond represents enlightenment. The palm frond represents the messenger. The palm frond represents anyanwu, the sun. And the palm frond is a physical manifestation of the concept of ose. Ose is the root concept behind uche. So it's not just the messenger, but it is the message, right? So when in traditional Igbo society, if a person is holding two hands and they're holding a palm frond and walking, that's why I have that up there, by the way. You see that picture? Why am I pointing funny? There, that picture. My back. I'm here talking about yoga. That picture right there, where are we at? There. That picture right there is palm, right? So a person holding a palm is walking in peace. And traditionally, if a person is using two hands and walking with palm, you don't tax them on the road. You don't harass them. You kind of just let them be. You give them the respects, that kind of thing, and so forth. And so, yeah, palm represents all of that. I hesitate to say things like this, but you think about this idea of Jesus walking into that town with the palm, and then they celebrate it with Palm Sunday. It's an African thing. It's an African thing. Okay, did I miss something before I get to Apunawo? Okay, what perspective or 90 perspective is the dumb luck? Also, what I think I messed up my camera. Damn. What Odinani perspective is dumb luck? Also, what Odinani perspective that knowing plays on the line misfortune, but misfortune never comes like they have luck, nothing bad happens or got worse. Like I don't so okay, so it's hard to say that there's a perspective in Odinani about luck because I don't think it's something that's believed in, right? Or something that the universe is chaotic. The universe is chaos. Why is chaos? Como su is chaos, but the chaos knows what it is and knows where it's going. So if things don't happen by fluke or by accident. They happen because they happen because the trajectory for them was set before time started with their chi. So that kind of thing. So everything everything comes from the hands of your chi. Everything comes from the hands of your chi, but no chi. Everybody has a different chi. My chi is not your chi. Some people's chi, like I have a cousin-in-law. I have an uncle. Let me go to my uncle. He passed away, but I have an uncle who is a huge risk taker, or was a huge risk taker, but he won two Visa lotteries in one lifetime. He won a Visa lottery in South Korea to go to Japan, and then he won the Japan Visa lottery to go to the US. This is one person in one lifetime. And then he got to the US and was immediately arrested. He's, was immediately arrested because he had marijuana in his bag. And then I believe the story is that he had butted a police officer, and then the police really beat him up, and we had to go to Chicago and get him. And because the police beat him up, he had like a lot of lawyers wanting to come sue the police, and so we used to just laugh about that. Like you win two Visa lotteries, you come to America, you win the American lottery, which is just that. That's what. That's what being violated so bad that somebody owes you money. That's the American lottery and that kind of thing. But I was as if you trace his whole life, it's just been this tornado of like really messed up situation. Not messed up. I mean, I don't know, really risky situations and bad luck. Oh, good luck. But that's his chi. That's how his chi panned out. So I did my. But he passed. He passed. What's a night perspective on? Okay. There's a place name. There's a place in Dominica. Oh, Belice. Okay, yeah, yeah. So maybe it has something to do with it. That's cool. That's cool. I think when I read, I think that they used to call Igbo people Mbarichi, and I know that Mbarichi was a name. It's like an old name that people don't answer anymore, right? So I've been that I'll look into that though. That's dope. Hey, he said, get a sound machine, and every time someone donates, the machine says, "Abido Sheka." Okay, yeah, yeah, that's a good idea. I was, hey, if you let me, my whole sound. I've been thinking about getting a sound machine anyway, but if you let me, the whole sound machine will just be Odumeje. Abido Sheka. I have the powers. Nothing on the calendar. Nothing on the calendar on the moon and sun question mark. I think there's something on the calendar, but if there's not, let me know. I think the calendar is populated, but let me know if there's not. How many spiritualities are you knowledgeable in the entirety of Nigeria? Because I understand Odinani well, I understand almost all of them. Because I understand Odinani well, I understand almost all of them. There will be nuances that I will miss because I don't live the culture. But if you tell me something about it, I'll know why it's that way or I'll get it. You know what I mean? But because I understand Onani, I know all of them, right? I know it's, you really just come to find that we're all the same people, right? And we're all saying the same thing. And I'm not just talking about in Nigeria, I'm talking about from my research up the coast of the Gambia and then all the way to maybe Angola, maybe South Africa. I don't know. Same people. Um, but yeah, I think I know just any culture or spirituality I know because this I'll leave that alone. I don't think that'll make sense. Blue moon, yes, moon of return, right? Rebirth, return. Yep, cool, 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 cool. What is the Igbo the so in it's Onwa Alom Alom and then space chi, right? But different communities might call it different things. I'm using a calendar, like the phrases I'm using are from a community in Anambra. Most communities just say first moon, second moon, third moon, that kind of thing. Charlie Xavier says Kedu. Ah, Kedu one there. Kedu. How are you doing? I haven't seen that name before, so if you're new, you're very welcome. I'm glad you're here. Thought I was tripping. How do you keep track of the genealogy in Igbo land? Is it completely oral history? How far back can people go? Oh, that's a cool question. All right, so how do people keep track of genealogy? It is like public knowledge in a way. And then on top of it being public knowledge, like in Igbo land, your actual town is structured around your genealogy. So if you can imagine, and this isn't, I'm just using an example. If you can imagine being in New York, but every borough is, as a fact, descends from a single ancestor, and then you break it down to blocks, and each block descends from a child of that single ancestor, and then you narrow until you get to the home, right? So I myself, I can go all the way to, just from geography alone, I can go all the way back to Emenaha, which is my, okay, where are we at? Okay, great 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 grandfather, so three generations, just from geography alone, because the way it is that our section of town are the children of Emena has land, right? Because this is a person that owned land, so his children are in that particular place. And then if you break it down from Emena, he has his kids, and then each kid gets a quadrant or a section of his land, right? So of Emena has children, I descend from Ukwebu, right? We had some Emena has children go to the Olympics, by the way. So shout out to the clan. But yeah, two of them. So of the Emena had children, I come from Ukwebu, who, he has his section, right? And then within the Ukwebu, I come from Ofadoronwa's children, because Ofadoronwa is the first son of Ukwebu. And so the Ofadoronwa people have their section. It's all connected. I can walk to all these different people's land, right? But the Ofadoronwa people will have their own section too, right? And then within Ofadoronwa, then the different people have their houses, right? So, of course, then it's my grandpa and my dad, and it's like that's my grandpa's house. These are my uncles. These are my uncle's lands. So you can trace a good deal of it from geography, but traditionally most of it is kept orally. And if we are in an environment where we're not like Christian, because so many people are waking up in the morning and greeting their ancestors, it's just kind of a common knowledge that everybody lives. Like you just hear these names. So growing up, you would hear stories about your different ancestors. Ofaronwa was the first person to fly a plane in our like area, our town. He was the first person to own like electronics and like a stereo player, like a music player, and that was like a big historical thing. And he was the first person to build a two-story house, like a modern two-story house, right, with like bricks and shit, which we still keep up as like a monument. So we hear stories about our father-in-law all the time. His father is Ukwebu, but we really hear a lot of stories about his grand or his mother. Sorry, no, his grandmother. His mother, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's his wife. We hear a lot of stories about his mother, though the husband's Ukwebu, but his mother Chege was a notorious figure. So we hear a lot of stories about her. She was a very powerful woman, owned a lot of land, expanded the family land a lot. There was this warlord that was like trying to take over the whole village, who is, another thing. It was a warlord that was trying to take over the whole village. She was one of the reasons he stopped, because like his portion stops right where her land starts. And he can't, kind of thing. Just all these, she's like a legendary figure. And then after that is his father, Emenaha, which we then hear stories about him. He was wilding out. But then, like, because I am who I am and I'm interested in what I'm interested in, I've learned ancestors even after him. So I've learned two after Emenaha, right? And that kind of thing. So it's just like, if you're an Odinani person, it's a lived experience knowing. Like, my son has heard me say my ancestors' names over and over and over, right? So yeah, if you want to say it's kept orally, then yeah. For like people that are like for example, like in Bini culture, The Oba, he keeps like an elephant tusk looking, it's like an elephant tusk with a bunch of like ornate designs for every one of his ancestors. And then every morning, the Oba greets all the ancestors. On top of that, the first son is the person that greets all of the ancestors, which is me, which is the person that greets all the ancestors. So like if you don't feel like doing it, somebody's got it, right? The first son's got it, right? And then within a household, the husband greets all the ancestors. So if you don't feel like it, he's got it, that kind of thing. And so sometimes if maybe your parents don't know, you just got to find the uncle that knows, right? That kind of thing. So that's how it's preserved. How do you keep track? Okay, cool. It's like the altar needs to be a yes, it needs to be a client. Yeah, the altar needs to be a client. Yeah, 100%. I learned that the hard way. Just like when we get acclimated to when we move. Yeah. Or how we prepare kids to move. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Like I understand why it happened that way, but it hit me hard. I was just like, damn, it hit me. And, sometimes when you feel these things, it's interesting. But yeah, yeah, I'm just, and funny enough, I'm very acclimatized to my environment now and so forth. So I'll do my not whistling at night, a colonization thing, or is there an Omenala Odinani reason? It's common among many cultures. Yeah, it's just this belief that that if you're whistling at night, something might whistle back. You don't know what it is. I don't believe it though, but some people do. You know. What can you make an altar from? Anything that feels like what you're trying to represent. So in an altar, you're representing your chi, your creator. You represent yourself. Well, let me put it this way: you don't really represent your chi in your altar because the whole thing is representing your chi. If you understand what I'm saying, so something that represents you, something that represents each of the ancestors whose names you know, and then you can then do what you want after that. Some people will add different elements. Some people will add like the abara, which are the elements, what I mean. Some people will add uh, like for example, now somebody might figure out the Robanje, and they might have a little house for their Robanje. A little house for their Robanje there. Somebody might figure out that they're who they incarnated from, and then they might have something for them there. And so, but it's whatever feels like that person. So people use, like in the modern day, people use pictures. Like I said earlier, with the Bini culture, the Oba uses like elephant tusks, and each of those elephant tusks was the elephant tusk that was used by the Oba. So when the Oba is entered, well, actually not just the Oba, in Igbo culture, when a titled person is like, if you have the title of Nze Rozo, and let's say you are entering a new somebody's compound or a new household, you have an elephant, like an ivory horn, and you'll blow it so people know that a big deal is coming through, right? So you blow it and that kind of thing, and that's and so forth. And so in the BD culture they have that as well, but the Oba has somebody who plays it for him, and in Igbo culture, people play their own, just different psychologies, that kind of thing. So, like I said, same thing, different algorithm, like same algorithm, different results. So, you blow the horn, and then you enter the compound, and that kind of thing. And so, in the Benin culture, they save the horn, and they use that to remember the ancestor. Like this was his, this is his, this is his, that kind of thing. So, I don't know. That's interesting. I need to check out the book. So, Hungry Sailor, yeah. Since there's no fairies, I'm not saying there's no fairies. I just don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. Portable. That's what it is, Yeah, that's what it is. It's portable cave. Yeah, I used to think clothing was about modesty, and I learned the history. And you go, it's about protecting you from the sun. It's melanin. This is artificial melanin. That's what it is. It's protecting you from the sun. That's because I used to be like, okay, if this is about like whatever it's supposed to be, why do people in the Middle East wear so much of it? Because they have so much sun. And it's not because of Islam. They were wearing that before Islam. It's because there's so much sun that they're not into. But then you go to places with the same kind of sun in Africa, and they just got something around their waist, to cover their bullocks. Kangaroo. what are some of the things that will and okay? What are some of the things, the main things that will and shall that will and shall arise once one gets an Afa divination for the first time? Also, what do you know about us all coming from an element like fire, water, and Imazi, thank you for your question. Um, what are the things? Let me structure my answer. What are some of the main things that shall arise once you get an Afa? I don't, for everybody, Afa is going to say something different. Afa is about asking. So the more specific your question, the better, right? If you ask Afa a question, it'll give you an answer. Um, yeah, if you ask whatever you ask it, it'll answer you. It's not, there's nothing standard that comes out for everybody. Um, and so forth. So I've been learning how to do alpha all summer, and I've gotten good, decent, and I've had a lot of fun with it. But I've learned that I have to slow down. I've learned that I have to slow down, and it's probably not for me. It's probably not for me. Uh, I did alpha twice. I did alpha twice, and I did it once, and then my daughter knocked the thing off the table, so I tried it again. And then my mom had a dream that night that two, like, in their 20s ish 30s women came to her with a silver laptop, which is what I use to read the thing, and they said that I owed them something. I specifically owed them something. And she says, okay, leave him alone, that she'll repay it. And they're like, okay, fine. And they start asking weird questions and that kind of thing. But she said they had a good demeanor, they were friendly, and they weren't like angry seeming. They were just kind of like, she knew they were spirits, but and so forth. But man, I'm cool on all that, man. I'm cool. Hey, I'm cool on that. That's not for me. But yeah, so usually if a Debia has the offer to do it, then they won't have problems. But I gotta get that settled. But anyways, yeah, I'm getting personal. Let me leave it alone. I'm leaving it alone though. I was playing around trying to figure some things out, and then like I was like, the answer is like it was like really specific. Like it was blowing my mind. It was really blowing my mind what I was getting. So, but it's not for me. It's not for me. It's not for me. That's a little too spooky. I do my and she didn't know I was doing it all. She just had the dream, then calls me like, hey, I had a dream, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, there was two of them. And then I remember like, yeah, I had to roll thing two times because my daughter knocked it off. My daughter really didn't want me to do it. I was like, okay, all right, so I leave it alone. It's not for me. So leave it to the professionals. I'm not an afa. I was gonna come and start doing it for you guys, but nah, I'm cool. I'm cool and all that shit. Uh Urugu is a great book. Need to man, it's kind of overwhelming. Portable Cave. Urugu is definitely overwhelming at times. Odinani is the future. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. He said translation makes understanding different. Mhm. Translation also makes understanding different spiritualities difficult. Yes. Words lose meaning and gain meaning and meanings that weren't originally there. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Or like, so like there's a way, and then there's a way that you can try to understand language where it's like you got to be really abstract because you start seeing like, okay, I see where the connection is, but like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, yeah, you have to be like a linguist to do what you're describing. You're 100% correct. Yeah, I put it down a few years ago. So it's like, wait a minute. In Java. Hey, say one Java. Talking about Oshun at the miss. But yeah, I'm not an EFI person, so maybe they have a specific reason they do it that way. I don't know. Hey, do whatever you want as far as Oshun and all that stuff becomes. What's the difference between witch power and power of Debia? Okay, super good question. So the difference between it is because Debia is an institution. So Debia is working with a thing we call Afo. And because Adibia is working with Alpha, Adibia is like a public actor. Adibia is what Adibia is doing is understood and it's accountable to this to the Alpha. Um, a dibia can't is like regulated. There's regulations. A witch or amusu is somebody who just knows all that stuff, but they're not using alpha. So in any normal society, the person that just knows the thing but isn't really accountable to anything is a little unnerving. The best example would be like if you have one neighbor who like, oh, what do you do? Oh, I make explosives for the military. And then you have another neighbor, like, what do you do? "Oh, I make explosives." And he's like, for what? He's like, no, not, don't worry about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, one of them's working for the institution or is regulated. The other one is just wilding out or maybe just doing their own thing, right? So, but again, people who understand witchcraft well will say that there are good ones, there are bad ones, but as far as DBs, they're all good. They're all working with awful. So that is the difference. Also, anybody can learn to be a witch. Anybody can learn witchcraft, but a debia is a calling. Just like my story with Afa, I played with it. It's not for me. Hey, whatever the fuck you want, man? I'll give it to you. I mean, I won't give you everything, but I'll give you whatever I owe. I'll give it back. You know, that kind of thing. I didn't talk about your son owes me something. Is that funny story? But sad. Does Odinani connect to star systems beyond human experience? Yes, but I don't know too much about like the astral stuff, like things about like stars, star formations, and so forth. Because I'm just gonna be frank, it's not that emphasized. It's not really that emphasized. It's not something I experience, and it's not something I can find like research or literature on. I find there are some things like Leopards of the Magical Dawn has some like astral types of things. There's okay, like there's of course an understanding of the stars and a study of it and a connection to it and so on and so forth. That's all there, but like if you're talking about like this is the Mercury formation or this is the Polaris, and I don't know anything about that. But yeah, no, it's all there. It's all there. Do you think the nomadic nature of Fulani is why they adopted Islam so quickly? I don't know if they adopted it quickly than others, but if you're walking around, you're going to encounter it quicker, right? So they just encountered it, and because they're walking around, they're bumping into people that haven't encountered it, and it's that becomes a whole different thing. But yeah, you know, it's a different way of operating. Even in Nigeria, one of the reasons it's easy for me to like describe this whole like I'm talking about these caves and shit. Because it's still playing out in Nigeria. So what's happening in Nigeria now is a lot of the nomadic Fulani people they want to settle down. And of all the places in West Africa, Fulani people have a better life in Nigeria, right? In some places they're persecuted, in other places like they're banned and you know that kind of thing. But in Nigeria, they're in the north, they're respected, and you know they're part of the society there. The ones that had settled down a long time ago. So all the ones in West Africa want to come to Nigeria and settle down, but they don't have land. They don't have. They're not from there. You know, they're already kind of fucking paranoid. You know, the Sahel is a little more violent, so they're coming with a different mentality. And then there's just a lot of clashing going on, you know, and then they don't have a relationship with land. So like they can go into your farm and start having cows eat your food. And then if you say, hey, what are you doing? They might shoot you. So the so yeah, that a lot of that has happened all throughout history, especially like Eurasia, right? So now it's kind of our turn to deal with that shit. So but when you see it happening in real time and then you go and look back at history, start, oh, that's why this, and that kind of thing, right? So in what they carry, what I believe is more important than what I exist with, because what I exist with is fleeting. I can leave here, right? I can leave here. It's not but my beliefs. That's the important part. That's, you look at a lot of the Abrahamic religion and shit, it's got the same mentality. Geography has been integral to genealogy, so cool. I've noticed the side of my family that managed to buy and hold on to land, moved around less, and it's easier to track through history. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, you literally toot your own damn horn. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You toot your own damn horn, 100%. There's a really cool picture on you can just Google it. It's like an Igbo guy from back then. He has like the robe and he's like holding the horn. You see a lot of it depicted in art. Yeah, yeah, you go, you hold your horn. Some of them would have like either a horn or like a bell, and then you walk, the bell makes noise. My my wife's mother's cousin has this really cool picture of one of their ancestors. I'll probably I've put it in one of my videos, but I didn't specify who it was. Real handsome guy, just fucking jacked, very tall, and he has this, he has this bell on him, and it's like, okay, he's a titled man, so when he walks, you hear that kong kong, that kind of thing. So I'll do my Debia powers over 900. Uh, you gotta pay those tolls, bro. Pay the messenger. How do we know? I don't like you getting teary eyed. There. Uh, how do we know if we have all fall for divination as a Debia? Well, I can tell you the traditional one, and I can tell you what's going on now. So traditionally, check this shit out. Traditionally, I've told this story a lot. What they would do is when okay, back to the Ichi marks. So when you get your Ichi marks, when you get in like your Debia initiation, they give you your Ichi marks. They will put like a peppery substance in your eye, like a liquid. They'll put it on your wounds. They'll cut your tongue, like around the rims, and they'll put that in there too. Each time they're saying something that's like kind of like this person is vowed not to lie, not to use their power to do this, not to do that. This is the difference between the Debia and Amusu, that kind of thing, right? And so the blood will touch the soil. And what will happen is, like, let's say now you start studying like Afa, like you're, let's say you're an apprentice, right? So you do the thing, you're initiated, you're like that kind of thing, and you're an apprentice working under a Debia, and this Debia does divination, right? So the big idea is you go back to the spot where you did your initiation, and if a tree starts growing from that spot, or specifically an ugili tree, if an ugili tree starts growing from that spot, then you are an Arobinagun Debia. An Arobinagun Debia is the Debia that does Afa, specifically the rope Afa divination. The other types of divination, I think it's not so strict, but the specific Ababala, the main divination, is done by those people. And you will wait for that tree to mature and then produce, like, so like the tree emerges, then okay, now you can start learning how to do Afa. When the tree matures, produces fruit, and drops each seed one by one that you'll use, those are the strings you'll use to form your Rabapala. So I don't know how long it takes those trees to grow, but you're literally watching this tree grow for years. And while you're watching it, you're studying under somebody and that kind of thing. So as you can see from the example, it was very rare to have somebody in the past that did Abapala divination. People would travel far and wide to find them. And because people would travel far and wide, they would congregate in specific towns that were known for it. So Arochukwu was one of them. Nri is another. They would move there because they know that everybody's coming from all the way in Togo to come and talk to the people in this town. So okay, let me set up shop here, right? So a lot of you had this situation where certain towns kind of specialize in it because all the people who can do it are rare and they move there. Today it's a little more lax. Most DBS do it. Most DBS do it. So, but if you're a Debia, you already have a connection with Arobinagon, so it's not like you're violating. You know what I mean? But I just thought it was fascinating. I wanted to learn it. I started playing with it. Started getting some answers, and then all of a sudden, talking about so, but like my mom said, they were chill. They weren't angry. They said, "Hey," and I know what they're saying. I know what they're asking for, and I will give them the thing that they're asking for. I'll give them the thing that they're asking for. But like I'm cool on all. I'm cool on that shit, bro. Shit. All right. How do we know? But yeah. How do you know if you have the all false? So in the past, that's how they used to do it. Now, if you're a Debia, you do it. But I do know that when you receive from spirit, you give something to spirit. So, um, even if you have the all fall, something is given. Sometimes a sacrifice. Sometimes it's cola. You'll give cola. You know what it is? I gave cola and then I forgot what that cola was for and I ate it. And then in the middle of tree, I was like, oh shit, I forgot. And then my mom had to drink. And I'm like, oh no, I know what happened. So I gotta give it back the damn cola. So yeah, I think. And I'll also give something extra to let them know I'm not tripping. So I didn't mind. Any spirit, my mom's like super Christian, by the way, too. So, well, I don't. And she's subbed to the channel, so she's not like super, but like I'll say she is because she. Anyway, this is a whole different thing, but she's very, 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 very connected. So she's also a counselor. We're trying to open a YouTube channel for her. I'm going to give more details on that. Uh, it takes a lot to come on camera and start talking, so it's taking some time. But once that's ready, I'm going to be sharing it. My mom's a counselor and her thing and that kind of thing, but she's very, very, very connected. And whichever kind of counseling you need, yeah, she can go deep. She can go deep. My mom receives through dream. Any spiritual perspective, proverbs, folklore, and meaning for one living a life without settling on land and having a family of their own. Any history of like, okay, so perspective, folklore, meaning for one living a life without land, settling on land and having a family. So that's just okay. So culturally, that is very, very, very uncommon. But some people who would do that would join the arrows and become arrow, right? People who do that would become arrow. So people who chose like to just like not live in their town or their community or go whatever, they would become arrow. Now it doesn't mean they would join arrow. True arrow is like a type of person. And so there's arrow settlements all over the place, and they would just join like an arrow settlement, or they'd become like Osu, that kind of thing, on a spiritual level. But it like if we're talking about in America, yeah, because this is some feudal cave shit. So yeah, there's a lot of people that don't have land. But at home, it's impossible to not have land. It is impossible based on the Igbo story. It's impossible. Some people, oh, do I? Yeah, you do. Go talk to people. You do. Everybody has, kind of thing. Because of what I said earlier, it breaks down the families, that kind of thing. So everybody has something to their name. And what was I gonna say? So yeah. So traditionally a lot of people would oh, not a lot of people, like if for some reason you left your community, and it was always a bad thing, usually a bad, nobody just, oh, I want to move to Seattle. Like that's not what's going on. Even move to Atlanta. People would move, but I can live in America for 10 generations. I'm always gonna be from our mama. That's how we see it. We don't do that like I was born here, so I'm this. That's not nomad shit. You know what I mean? Like Fulani people, like their last name will be like Dan Kano. Why is your name Dan Kano? Oh, I was born in Kano. Like we are just passing by and I was born there, so that's my name, right? We don't do that. So if I have kids in Japan, they're still Awamama people. If those same kids had another set of kids in Japan, they're still Awamama people. If they have kids for 350 generations, they're still Awamama people. And there's an allocation of land that's been waiting for them, right? There's an allocation of land that's been waiting for them, and so forth, right? Harder to trace with like ancient departures, like the slave trade and so forth, or not ancient, like older departures, but like recent, yeah, it's impossible. So there's no such a thing as like leaving your community. But like if you like, let me put it this way: if you swear off your community, like I don't want to be a part of this anymore, I want to be part of something, which it was always you getting kicked out. Really, if you get kicked out, right, then and you don't have land, which the only way that can happen is if you committed like a severe abomination. But like if that happens, then you can go join Aro people or Nri people. Or Osu people. Are there any good spider stories in Odinani? Yes, there are many good spider stories in Odinani. There are many good spider stories in Odinani, but I will save the one, two-ish I know for my Udide video. Udide. So if you want to see a video on the cosmic spider, go to one of my normal videos and comment, I want to see a video on the cosmic spider or Udide or Kankwa, so that I can put it up for vote on the Patreon once my next video drops, which I'm taking a long time to do because I like to get carried away in my art. How were you learning Afa? Were you teaching yourself? Well, we have a traditional medicine class and at www.kedu.me. And one of the things you learn in the traditional medicine class, like the first class, you learn like Afa, so like what all the different codes mean. And then after learning what the codes mean, level 2, you can play with it a little bit more, which that's why I learned it's not for me. So, but yeah, no, we teach it. We have a Debia that teaches the class, and then there's several books. I have several books on it, and so forth. So yeah, just a combination of those things. So just learning the language, but like I started first learning the Afa language for like my research because Afa it's like one of the best ways to confirm like a hunch. Like I think this is that, and then like you'll check Afa, not like doing the thing, but like check the Afa like the words. Oh, ete Atuluba means this. Okay, that makes sense because that. So it was helping with my research and my studies, and it became like it became like the new frontier for me because as I learned these new things, I started learning other things and so forth. Like that's Alpha is the reason I know what's connected to what. And like, okay, this is a manifestation of that. That's connected to this, that kind of thing. So I first started learning the language. Then I started playing with like actually Igbo Alpha, like to do the Alpha. And that's not cool, man. Ah, shit. Did you have a book? But yeah, so if you're a patron, I have an Alpha folder. In the Alpha folder, there's about 3 really good books on the art of Alpha. One of them's called Ifa. The other one's called Afa Nri something because it is Anambra people can claim things. Hey, God, Anambra people can claim. Man, if you let Anambra people, they'll tell you that, oh yeah, I'm the reason you have bones. So allegedly, Afa is from Anam, which it's not. But yeah. So there's one called like the Inri something, the Inri Eye of the Unseen or some shit like that. But it's a good ass. If you ignore the kind of traditional Anambra people title, the content is phenomenal. So both of those books are on the Patreon. If you're a patron and you're looking for them, message me or just check the Alpha folder. It's in there. And then After God is Debia also goes into Alpha like a little bit, like it gives like a general overview of Alpha. But one of the books in there tells you like how to like structure the codex and stuff like that. And then I'm actually in the process of writing it. So like the skeleton, like it's basically done. I wrote a book, like I made a textbook for the traditional medicine class, and then that also breaks down like what every single has like a little chart, tells you what every single code means, what it means when they're combined, and then how to combine them and stuff like that. So yeah, I have a lot of resources on that. Patreon.com/the medicine shell. Patreon.com/the medicine shell if you're interested in learning Afa from or getting those Afa books. Politics in Trinidad recently spoke of the use of mace in parliament as a representation of the will of the people. Yeah. Why did I lose my place? Said mace was damaged in a revolt. In my opinion, it should be replaced with a different item. Maybe an awful. Well, yeah, that's what that represents. The gavel, all those things is the awful. In European culture, from where the mace comes. Google the fasces. I think it's Faeces. It's like wood that's tied at the top, tied at the bottom. It's the same thing as the offal. But the European one, they put an axe on it. They thought it was more metal. They have an axe on it, but it's the same concept. The Romans used to use it. The Greeks, the Etruscans. No, I'm sorry. The Romans got it from the Etruscans, which tells me that the Etruscans were probably some folk. So, what item? What item would best represent the will of the people, as we are not British Saxons? Ah, good question. Good question. So we're talking about where? Trinidad? Yeah, get that awful. Get a normal awful from Igbo land. That's where most of those people are from. Most Trinidadian people are from. Get an awful from Igbo land. What tools and resources? I think I already answered that on accident, so I'll do my. What was your experience with Alpha? Whew. That shit's real. This shit's real. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. I don't need nobody bothering my mother. How about that? I don't need nobody bothering my mom. Let her rest. Good Your Honest is not for you. Too many people jump into stuff wanting that knowledge so much versus it really being their calling responsibility to do. It's a big burden. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're saying as far as it being a big burden. But yeah. Sometimes life is just like feeling around in a dark room. Sometimes you gotta know when you touch the wall and you don't need to go any further, right? So I touched the damn wall. Motherfuckers are bothering my mom. I don't like that shit. I want to turn a different direction. I got to think, but like she said they were chill. I was acting for money in Japan for years ago. Norm. People's farms at night, bro. What? I was remembering myself and bouncing once the farmers came out. Lights and I mean, shit. That is that. Yeah, that was the exact the acting Fulani in Japan is diabolical. Yeah. I had a dream that someone gifted me Afa beads. Yeah, that's a good sign. With shells. I forgot the name. The shells are the ugili. But now I'm saying it wrong, but ugili. In my place, we say ugiri. So ugili is what I see on the internet. But yeah, that's a sign. I've never had a dream like that, so I was just curiosity cat thing. Curious cat thing. It's so interesting that Central and West African ATRs and its African diaspora have Mother Earth and the Python at the head of the panther. Yeah, absolutely. PT, absolutely. There's a lot to that. Greetings for Suriname. Greetings one day. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. A lot of connection between Suriname and Igbo people. But yeah. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. That connection to Earth and that Python wisdom, the Python wisdom, right? The Akko wisdom that comes from the mother, the spirit that comes from the mother, the Python spirit. And then they depict, even in the Hindu stuff, the Kundalini comes from the ground up. It's like a python, where they got what's that thing called? The fucking medicine thing, where they got the two pythons and then they're looking at each other. Well, I can tell you what all that means. All of the best, most clearest messages come from Black Christian women I've noticed. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's put it this way. I know that's not what you meant, but they're Christian that's like the language they use to express what they're experiencing and seeing and understanding. That's the accessible, available one. But if you look at their Christianity real hard, it's a little unorthodox. It's a little unorthodox, right? But yeah, absolutely. No, there's a different level of connection women have as opposed to men. especially like yeah, just there's different just women in general. There's a different level. There's a different level of connection that women between women and men. But yeah, Black Christian women, there's no undefeated. Uh, Regarding offerings, curious to know if you all do Ebo. In the way they do Ebo offerings in Ifa. Yeah, we do the same thing. So like sacrifice, yeah, we do the same thing. Also, I'm being initiated into Ifa and Egungun in a week. Congratulations, that's dope. Curious to know if you've seen people initiate into multiple practices across Igbo and Yoruba. So, as far as Igbo goes, you don't initiate into Odinani. Odinani is a way of Odinani is a perspective, right? So nobody can initiate you into Odinani. It's a perspective. But there's things within Odinani that you can get initiated to. So like becoming a Debia has an initiation, becoming an Inze, becoming also, becoming an Alpo has an initiation. And then of course little community initiations for different things. So, but Odinani itself, there's no like initiation for it. I've seen people receive chieftaincy titles. I don't think I've seen somebody be initiated into a Debia. The closest person to me that has been initiated into a Debia has been my um one of my like I don't know what the word in American family structure like uncle cousin like cousin uncle. One of my cousin uncles is was initiated as a Debia within this like past 4 years. But I wasn't there for the thing, right? But as far as just Odinani, like 9 out of 10 people that understand and practice Odinani, there's no initiation. Congrats, Nicole. Yeah, congrats by the way. Congrats. Yeah, I was tripping in Japan. Hey, you need to tell this Japan story. You may need to make a channel or something, a creative force. They thought something was wrong with me. Strangers in the village kept asking me if I need. Yeah, bro. If you're wandering into people's farm, there's something wrong with your ass, bro. What do you mean they thought something was wrong with you? And like you're the only black person in like 5 counties, and you walking around the fucking cornfields. These people think I'm crazy. Like, yeah. Shit. Hey man, I'm glad you figured it out, man. That's what's up. Does Arachuku acknowledge its role in the slave trade? Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Cause I don't like how they did us like that. Yeah, yeah, they definitely acknowledge it, 100%. Do you think language develop? Do you think languages develop how they develop for a reason? Oh, that's a good question. Like, why do certain languages end up tonal? A lot of conjugations. I got a couple loopy little theories, right, as to what that is, verb conjugations and so forth. So, language is like a wave. So you splash water at the center point and it spreads and spreads and spreads. And as it spreads, the wave bumps into different things and it changes its shape and so on and so forth. So, language is this very interesting continuum where it's hard to know where one language begins, another language ends, and commonality usually tells you you're dealing with the same people. I think linguists have noticed that where there's a lot of sun, there's a lot of vowels, sorry. There's a lot of use of vowels. Where there's less sun, there's less vowel use. It's just something I believe linguists are saying. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I read that somewhere. There's just interesting things that we'll notice, but I'll say this as far as Odinani goes, right? Ideas come from the sky and ideas come from the earth, and they intermingle and we express them in different ways. So oftentimes it's not the humans making these languages, it's the physical land that they're on. It's the physical land that they're on that is contributing to the language. And so, based on the land says makes people say different things. Then of course there's history, and so forth. Um, they say the West African languages are tonal. The Kwa, Niger, Congo languages are tonal, but the best way to understand their tonality is to understand that they are like songs, that you're singing them. You don't speak them, you sing them, right? And so once you understand that you're singing them, then it clicks. So again, I always use this example, right? Like if I was saying like, you can find me in the club, pocket full of bub. I got what do we know that you like, hey, you're singing the song wrong, right? But if I add that little, you can find me in the club. Okay, I know what you're saying now, right? That kind of thing. That's the way languages work in Igbo culture. There's a rhythm to the Igbo language. And once you like in Kedu, for example, right? So like when we're putting together Kedu, Kedu is my Igbo language learning program, by the way. So if you want to learn Igbo, holla at your boy. So, but Kedu is my Igbo language learning program. And one of the things we do in Kedu is we try to like learn Igbo as it is. And so we teach people that, especially in Igbo too, that there's a rhythm, it's a song. You have to sing it, right? You have to sing the language, right? And so the once you understand that, like if your instructor says "oh father," you have to go like for someone who's not used to this, "oh father," and that is just as important as the words you're saying. Because if you sing it different, now we're saying something else, right? That kind of thing. It's a different song. So the Kwa languages, you sing them, and when you hear somebody who's like very articulate in the language, it sounds like they're singing. So like with Igbo, for example, one of the things my dad taught me was like the masquerades, they always sing. They always sing what they're saying. They'll sing in this rhythm, you know. My name is Derek or Father in. I'm coming to you from da 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 da. I'm here going live, sharing my time with you. Da 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 da. That's the rhythm of the Igbo language, right? So whenever masquerades are talking, that's how they talk, like and so they call it mbem. Mbem, there's like a poetry to a form, but that's the reason the masquerades are talking like that is because that's how the ancestors that they are channeling spoke, right? So once you master the rhythm, like now if you're just having casual conversation, you tone it down a little bit, make it a little bit more casual. But you even notice a lot of people with like Nigerian accents, they talk with a rhythm, right? That kind of there's a rhythm to the way they talk and that kind of thing, and they're not putting it on. That's just how they understand. That's how they grew up talking. And so yeah, it's we sing our words. There's this newscaster. It's like Igbo news and like Igbo language, something like that. I can't remember the name, but we use it in Kedu, like Igbo 2. We use it to teach people that rhythm. And his is just like spot on. He's like a ancient spirit when he talks, like, in today's news, Mazi Namdi Kanu said that. He's speaking Igbo, but he's using this particular rhythm. So same thing with patois, same thing with AAVE, right? There's a rhythm, and you'll know if somebody grew up speaking this if their rhythm is right. If the rhythm's off, you right. That's why I don't play with it too much. I don't have the rhythm. I don't. That's not my rhythm. I don't get. I didn't grow up talking like that, right? Well, that's why I don't play with it too much. And if I say it to them, easy, but that doesn't sound right. I get it. Where can I sign up for the class for Afa? So it is Ogun 1. Go to www.kedu, kedu.me and sign up. The class is Ogun 1. There's a big orange button at the top that says sign up. Click it, and then you choose between medicine and language. If you're a patron, if you join the highest tier, then you can just walk in. You already you just say, hey, I want to join the class, then you join it. It is supposed to hold. I'm sorry, guys. I just burped. It's supposed to hold in the end of this month, but I'm actually gonna have to postpone it. So I'm gonna make an announcement on Monday. I'll be postponing it to begin next month. We have to organize some things before we start. I want to start correctly. Yeah. Also, anyways, this administrative stuff. But yeah, sign up now. So that gives you more opportunity to sign up. www.kedu.me and then choose OGW1, OGUW and 1. It says medicine right there, so you'll know it. It's got pictures of like leaves. So I don't know. Scotty, I think I'd love to see you in the class too. The last one was awesome. Or the last session was awesome. Sorry, I mean they're still part of the family, but they don't go. Okay, still part of the family. Okay, so in 99.9% of African cultures, this would be seen as a tragedy. It'd be seen as a sad thing. People wouldn't. But you know, in America, it's cool. It's not a big a deal. But most African families, they'll see it as not a good thing. It doesn't mean the person gets like outcasted or hated on. It's just like, oh, poor them. I remember. I can't remember. It was one of my cousins. Yeah, it was my cousin. My cousin Uza. He had come. He had come from. He was going to like an oil conference, and he stayed with me in Houston a little bit. And he was like, I remember him going, so a whole Obama, he doesn't even have a son. And I was like, in this country, that's not that big a tragedy. He's like, it's not good. But yeah. So they would see that shit as not good or not like it's like a sad thing, or like an unfortunate thing. But you're in America, you can do whatever you want. You know? I heard they do from my daughter. There's okay, that's a different conversation. Question: I know that divination can be done with sand or fire. Do you know any tribes that do water divination? Almost all of them. Almost all of them. Looking in the research, it seems to be very secretive from us. I don't know if it's secretive. Just this is not these traditions are not things that people are like on the internet like typing about, right? I'm like a new breed of Odinani person that's coming online and discussing these things, but it's like these are things that people are just doing at home, just a very offline type of person would do, right? A very offline type of person would do. And that's just what that is, right? So something like water divination, yeah, every culture I can imagine would have some form of it or does it, but like, you know, the guy or girl or whoever that does it just hasn't come on the internet and shared it, you know. But it doesn't mean that it's a secret, right? I think it's something. Okay, all right, that's y'all. Which goddess is Oshun in Igbo cosmology? Okay, so Oshun is like a specific river in Yoruba land. So the reason that Oshun has this name and reputation, that kind of thing, is because that particular river is flows through Ife, I think, maybe I'm wrong, flows through Ife, and it's important to Ife people. And Ife people were very instrumental in like structuring and spreading Ifa. And so in my town, but I say that to say this, it's whatever river that sustains your people, right? So we use Nemiri as a catch-all for just the general water spirit, water abara. But then if you're doing it on a local level, you'll now talk about the specific river that you guys live with. Mine is Njaba, right? I'm a one Jaba. Our main shrine in town is Njaba Ngwa, which is Njaba at Ngwa, right? Ngwa is a market. Uh, some people is Idemmili because that's the river that flows through their town and that's their main one. Some people will use the term Oshimiri, which is, it just means like the great source water, usually used for like a type of water that can like consume a person. So like the Niger River or like the ocean, but just another catch-all. So it's just whatever river is in your place, right? I don't know where I'm not gonna say the river where I'm at, but in this place it'd be that river, right? So I don't know. Hope that made sense. Yeah. I got a reading from a female Debia once, and she specifically said women don't need to do rituals like men do in North. Yes, yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, you got it. Uh. How do you have a cousin uncle? Hey, man. I don't know what you guys' term is. It's like your uncle, but it's like a cousin uncle. You know what I mean? It's not like a dad uncle, mom uncle. right? I guess what will they say here? I don't know how to do the first cousin, second remove, third remove, just because I can't do math in my head really fast. But we have the same great great grandfather. Yeah, we have the same great great grandfather. So whatever, however you say that in Americanese, then cool. That's who that guy is. What is the shape of the Earth? The Earth is a sphere. It's round. Uh, Shango would correspond with Amadioha. No, I would have to know more about Shango. There's a chance Shango does. There's a chance Shango doesn't. So if you understand Shango well, I'm going to explain Amadioha and then you can let me know if it correlates. Amadioha represents the will of the chi. Amadioha is the will of the chi. Amadioha on the highest level is Amadioha, which is the will of Chukwu. Amadioha is the actor or the thing that makes the will of Chukwu be, right? Amadioha on a personal level is the will of the individual chi, which manifests as the Ikenga. So Amadioha is Ikenga Chukwu, right? It's Chukwu's Ikenga, is Chukwu's masculine force, Chukwu's that kind of thing, right? Amadioha is Ogu, right? So Ogu is the balancing factor of the Ofo. The Ofo is the principles that hold together the universe. So gravity is a principle. Whether you're going to fall or stand is Ogu, right? Justice is Ogu. All these different things. So that is Amadioha. Amadioha is the active principle of Chukwu in the world. Active. Amadioha also manifests as Amadioha, so the free man of the people. When the Oha or the people amass their will, the Amadioha is the person who takes the Ofo, the mantle, and acts that will out. Okay, so I would say definitely Amadioha is definitely a heroic archetype. Um, uh, like a an elected leader, or an Igwe, right? An elected leader would be an Amadioha, a genuinely elected leader, right? Person that the collective will of the people said this is the person that's going to make it happen, right? And so forth. My dad gave me this proverb that stuck with me, yeah, when I was about 11. He said, "Ofo ma onyejia, ofo ma onyejia." The ofo knows who holds it, or who truly holds it, right? That kind of thing. So the person who truly has that ofo, the person that represents the will of the people, is an Amadioha, is a human manifestation of Amadioha, right? So that's Amadioha. So if it correlates with Shango, you can let me know. Makes sense. First time I heard Tui, I thought the people were singing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some ways are equal. Sounds right. I don't know about the less sun, the less vowels thing because English originated from England, Hellerain, but England has an abnormally large amount of vowels. Does it have more vowels than like a Hawaiian language? You know? Does it have more vowels than like a Hawaiian language or like an African language? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I have a C minus level interest in linguistics. And so every now and then I run into things. So I wish I can go back to my source and so forth. But it was just this thing about like, for some reason, sunny places use a lot of vowels, right? And then the next question is, are the vowel heavy words in English, are they from Italy? Are they Roman? You know, Latin? Um, I know like the Scandinavian word thing, right? Thing is a Scandinavian word, Thing, right? It's not like makalakaliki, that kind of thing. Okay, that's some Hawaiian, Samoan kind of thing, yeah. Right. Can you learn Igbo from Nietzsche? Have you learned Igbo from Ndiche? Yo, I'm gonna tell you something. I almost think you have to learn Igbo from Ndiche. I almost think you have to learn Igbo from Ndiche. So one of the things we do in the language class is we learn how to do Iwaji, how to break Oji, right? And I have noticed, and this happened for me too, once I learned to start doing it with my spirit, the Igbo started coming out. And it started coming out very natural. I started feeling very like, okay, and that kind of thing. And it kind of started making a lot more sense. So yeah, as far as Kedu goes, we understand that your people, your ancestors can, once you tap in, once you start speaking it with your spirit, they can start guiding you. So I do wonder how many of the people who are enrolled now are watching. So we have a lot of people this time, which is a blessing. It's amazing, but that are not from the medicine show, right? And I've noticed that they tend to have a harder time keeping up because they don't understand that the spiritual aspect is important. They don't understand yet. Maybe they'll figure it out, right? So you get somebody who has never been to Igbo land in their life, but they know how to break Oji because they go to their ancestors and they do it. They start kicking that shit. You're like, yo, what? My Igbo is 10 times better when I'm breaking Oji than when I'm speaking, right? So then I've realized, okay, I need to be in the same spirit or a similar spirit when I'm breaking Oji, when I'm speaking. I have to integrate them. And then once I start integrating, my Igbo improved. Now, it's not perfect, right? I have a strong American accent, right? Strong, obvious, oh, this motherfucker's from America, American accent, right? I pronounce things crazy sometimes. But I have a good ass Igbo, you know what I mean? If you can get, I'm like one of them guys that like, like Schwarzenegger. He speaks good English, but he just got that strong ass accent. That's what I like. Sing-songy accent is what Trinidad calls it. Odinma, yeah. Patois, AAVE, all Quag, Niger Bantu languages you sing them. Definitely a rhythm to A. Yeah, 100%. And the rhythm is just as important as what you're saying, because you say that shit off rhythm, it almost sounds like you're trying to make fun of somebody. Like you're like it's just off. It don't taste right. You know what I mean? The rhythm is just as important, right? That kind of thing. Whenever, like I remember I used to work at this place in Houston, and there was this group of older black women who did not play about me. They did not play about me whatsoever. What, man, they didn't play about me. And every morning they'd always say, "How you doing, baby?" As the rhythm was so that's what woke me up. That was like, it's better than coffee. It's like, I'm okay, Miss Blank, and I kind of think I'm doing all right, Miss Blank. How are you doing? And I ask these questions. I kind of think the rhythm was important, right? And then I go talk to them other folks. It's like, how are you doing, Derek? This is not the same thing. I don't know, man. I just dropped my Audrey. My bad. Always fun hanging out with you all. I'm glad you pay attention to your dreams. I recently went home to Nigeria, went to a local beach, brought a handmade necklace from the locals. They blessed me and they prayed on it. He said, fast forward 2 weeks later, I dreamt and saw a Debia. Hey, isn't wine me? Handing the same necklace to me in the dream. That's powerful. All right, my daughter is letting us know that she's about to start doing her thing. So let her in. Hey, Mama. Hey, Daddy. Daddy. Did your mom leave? Daddy. Is she home? Okay. All right. You guys can be in here, but just like stay off the camera, please. Okay. Hold on, guys. I'm coming.
Wait, can I sit down somewhere?
Got much stuff in your hair. You can sit down somewhere, but just try to be off camera. I'm probably gonna wrap this up soon. I'm trying to keep my kids off camera. I don't, they're not gonna let me.
Supposed to sit.
You got be quiet, oh. Potentially don't make a large amount of vowels, Germanic languages. Are you sure Germanic languages have a lot of vowels? A lot of going on. You know? But I don't know, I could be wrong. Like I said, I have a C- level of interest in linguistics. I just remember seeing that somewhere. Everybody watches the lightning show. The people in the marshes see some traits, lightning, highlands. Good question. Or good comment, I mean. In the ATR in Suriname, Winti, which means the wind, Ubia is one of the spirit families. Unu Sonso. Yeah. 100%. Oh, yeah, 100%. Thanks for sharing that. There was an elder I read about in Hoodoo who did water divination using black oil and water. Yeah. Yeah? You know, my daughter used to be all about mom, and she switched teams. And so now I can't do nothing. Yes, lady. Divination is cool. Yeah, divination is amazing. It's very cool. You can, when you have that gift, different things work for you. Different things work for different people. So like the amount of things people use to do divination is infinite, right? It's really just, it's almost like you come to find that it's almost like per person. We just call everybody cousin. Okay, fine. Yes, cousin. Yes, my cousin. Is the earth round according to Igbo cosmology? It's really interesting. You and Sirius Hugo teach Igbo as Big Bang on Earth. Yeah, I mean, it's not just me and you. Sirius Hugo.
I also kind of have that question.
Talk to your ancestors. Talk to everybody. One of the things that's interesting about the ancestral depiction of the universe is this idea of like a spider web with like a python at the edges. So I don't know what that means. I know what that means, but like I don't know if we're ready for all that. I don't know if we're ready for all that. But yeah, but it's not to say that was the shape of the universe or whatever. I think it's pretty obvious that our ancestors had a general idea that the world had like a roundness to it, or was round. So there, if you look at the artifacts at Igbo Ukwu, Mama, take it easy. At the artifacts at Igbo Ukwu, you see a lot of that. You see the earth getting compared to a pot or a vessel a lot, stuff like that. So as far as the shape of the earth, I'm sure it differed per ancestor and per what a town or whatever. But there's a general idea that it's round. And then when we talk about the universe, we talk about like a spider, almost like a spider web. Like literally a spider web with like a python around it, right? Now, I don't think they mean literal spider web. I don't think they mean literal python. Right? And then, we call people we have no relation to, just met 5 minutes ago, cousin as well. Yeah. So we say one day. So cousin is saying one day, like one day is just like, literally says child of my mother, right? So everybody's one day. So that person I was talking about is one day. That's my that kind of thing. Yeah, but I didn't. He's my cousin. I was trying to be specific. Is the Kenga you mentioned related to Dikenga in Congos? It's interesting because I keep wanting to look into Dikenga. I've been asked that question a lot, Dikenga more, and I haven't. I don't know if it is or not. I don't know if Ikenga and Dikenga are related, because I just don't know Dikenga well. But I think I described it just now, so if you heard the description and it correlates, it sounds like you have knowledge on that, you can let me know. You can teach me something. Okay, hold on. Our teacher thinks the earth is a sphere, and you think it's Derek himself in the video presentation called Cosmology primary. So maybe, I don't know. Earth is round. Yes, the Earth is round.
Why is that even a question?
Some people think it's like flat, you know, that kind of thing. That kind of thing. So, but yeah, I don't know why it's a question number. Is this serious?
Feels like not.
You must go up there and verify. What are you doing, Mom? Okay, what are you doing? My mom told me that A's and Y's have tragic endings. Is that true? No. No. If you ask your mom, whichever denomination of Christian she's not a part of, they probably have one too, so it's whatever.
I want to stay in a blanket.
Oh, no, I don't. I'm trying to keep you guys off the camera.
I'm super, super, super cold.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Why don't you go get some longer pants on?
No!
Gravitational fields in space. Guys, I think we're probably going to have to hop. My daughter wants to read. Yeah, we've hit the end. They're also related, mysterious dark matter, stuff like that. Man, and the conversation just got interesting. So come back next Saturday. We can go further into the universe. I can elaborate on what I was saying about the spider's web and the python around it. If you actually, I'm glad you guys asked, if you look at the thumbnail for this video, you'll notice that like the bowls for it will often have this python or this idea of this python around the edge that is related to what I'm saying. So yeah, again, this is Derek O'Fodderman with the Medicine Shell. Get on the Patreon. Hey, be nice. Get on the Patreon. Get on patreon.com/the Medicine Shell. Be a part of the Patreon community. Patrons are members of the village, have full access to my research library. So like I had mentioned about like 5, in this talk I probably mentioned about like 5 books that are in the library that you can access for free. There's like 300 different books, articles, and things like that in there. And then I also mentioned the calendar. The calendar is available. You can know what moon it is and what is done on each moon. Things that. Good job. Hey, my daughter can read, Joe. She's 2 years old. I'm gonna do this so it's documented in case someone trying to throw on her. CAR.
Cow.
Good job. BUS.
Bus.
Yes, I'm gonna stop flexing. So, all right, guys, we gotta go. Get on Patreon. Let's learn about the globe. Ubulu, quit trolling and get on Patreon, huh? Quit trolling and get on Patreon. Concept of Ikenga, I got a number Ikenga. Anyways, guys, I gotta run. The library on Patreon is a great source of information. Thank you for all of that. And Nicole, I appreciate you for being a part of this. Good job. What's that say? TRUCK.
What?
Good job. All right, y'all. Udo. See you guys. Unu gadi, unu geto. Kwabla nu tiaka, gadi n'ụwa. Ọ ga-adị otu a n'eke, n'orie, n'afọ, na nkwọ, ise.